You're listening to the Armchair GM Sports Network.
The following podcast is under review.
After reviewing the play, the call on the ice stands. We gotta go!
You're listening to the Under Review Hockey Podcast, your Niagara source for all trending NHL topics, previews, analysis, in-depth discussions, and live coverage of events like the NHL Draft, trade deadline, and free agency. Here are your hosts, Brandon Caputo and Kyle Kitt.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to a very special installment of the Under Review Podcast. This is our NHL Free Agent Frenzy 2020 episode right here on the Armchair GM Sports Network, your October 9th, 2020 edition. Your source North American sports coverage by sports fans, for sports fans, delivered to you right here in the good old Niagara region. Find us on social media for updates, giveaways, and sponsor promo code deals each month by following the podcast on Twitter, Instagram, and on Facebook by searching Armchair GM Sports Network. You can listen to us on our main platform, which is Spreaker.com, and the free Spreaker app, which we are live on right now by searching the Armchair GMs. As well, check us out on Spotify, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, CastBox, and Deezer by searching the Armchair GM Sports Network. Lastly, you can check out our beautiful user-friendly website, armchairgmsports.com, for all things regarding our network, including articles, podcast episodes, sponsors, and contributors. Everything's on there for you guys, and wherever is most convenient for you to listen to us, we're on many different platforms for you. Please give us a like and subscribe on whatever platform you're listening to us right now. Give us some love. And as always, I'm one of your hosts of the Under Review Podcast, Cappy. Follow me on Twitter at Capoots13 with a Canadian Z. And as the intro said, I'm not joined by my usual co-host, Kyle, and co-owner of the Armchair GM Sports Network. Unfortunately, he has corporate duties to attend to. So I'm pleased to be joined by a very special guest co-host for today. He is my good friend, Colin Ward. He is the co-host of the 0-60 OHL podcast. You can follow him on Twitter at Colin Ward _14. Colin, thanks so much for taking the time to come on and talk some NHL free agency with us today.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. This is going to be fun. I know there's a lot of rumors going on right now. It's going to be an exciting day.
Yep. So, guys,
for 2 hours, you want that?
Exactly. 3 hours are going to be on with you guys till 2:30 Eastern time. Again, it's a live show, so a lot of stuff's going to happen. But free agency doesn't officially open up until about just under a half hour from now. So we're just going to kind of discuss some rumors, and Colin's going to give his thoughts on the NHL Draft. As on his show, they do a lot of OHL Draft coverage. So, Colin, go ahead and before we get started, go ahead and let the audience know what you guys do over at the 0-60 podcast and how can they find you guys?
Yep, so we cover the OHL each week now, or weekly, every Tuesday, 1 o'clock, we release our show. We cover the OHL from everything you need to know, basically. We cover player interviews. Right now we've had a lot of player interviews on. We like to have the players' voices out there, kind of represent the players. Basically we just cover games, any news going on in the OHL.
Okay. And so let us know what your thoughts were on the NHL Draft. So obviously there were a lot of OHL players taken in the first round there in the OHL. Just what were your thoughts on the NHL Draft and the OHL's as a contribution to it?
Yeah, the draft was pretty solid in the first round. There's only probably one surprise. The Leafs went a little bit off the board, but it wasn't dramatically off the board like the Columbus Blue Jackets did. Columbus took a guy they post on Twitter and you don't even have his profile picture on there. That's kind of embarrassing when you draft a guy in the first round and you can't get his profile picture up there on your social media because you don't have any pictures out there for him. So that's kind of odd, and I was a little surprised there about guys like Martin Chromiak from the Kingston Frontenacs, guys that fall that far where they were ranked about from 40 to 30 range, and to fall off the board to the fifth round is pretty amazing because I didn't expect that. Same with Coe as well from North Bay. Didn't really expect him to fall that far either, but it happened. They'll have a chip on their shoulder, and they'll bounce back from that for sure. They're great players.
And again, guys, thanks for joining in. This is the third installment of our Free Agent Frenzy coverage. Again, we were even doing this before we even had a network going, so this is our third installment. And usually it's like a national holiday here in Canada, Colin. You know, it's usually this day happens on July 1st, but obviously with the global pandemic happening, we get Free Agent Frenzy just before Canadian Thanksgiving.
Yeah, for sure. And this is fun. I mean, it'll have some fun at the table. I mean, I'm getting rumors in right now. You might hear my phone be going off during the show because there is some rumors going on. I mean, Wayne Simmons apparently is down to two teams. There's the Toronto Maple Leafs and the Montreal Canadiens. Talk about a classic Thanksgiving showdown. You could have some bad blood there.
Great. So Wayne Simmons obviously going to move on from the Sabres. I actually really liked Wayne Simmons and what he brought to the Sabres for, the little bit of the season that was left that he was there. Obviously, he's not going to be, the 30 to 35 goal guy anymore, but he can still be a contributor. He's a great locker room guy, and he's a great presence in front of the net. As as a Detroit Red Wings fan, over the years with guys like Thomas Holmstrom, how valuable that is.
Yeah, big-bodied guy. I mean, guys like Johan Franzen as well. Guys that are around the net, get in front of the net. They get to the dirty areas where it protects your guys like Jack Eichel and Buffalo that they get more space out there on the ice as well. I mean, Wayne Simmons is what the Toronto Maple Leafs desperately need. I mean, over the past couple of years, 2 years ago when they played Boston in the first round, they probably win that series, the Maple Leafs, if they have a guy like Wayne Simmons. I mean, he plays a hard, gritty game, right? So they desperately needed that once Kadri got suspended.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry to bring that up, Toronto, but that's true. I mean, once he got suspended, what did they have? They didn't really have much, so that's big. I mean, I don't think Simmons will be a guy that's overboard. Like, I think he could still do something else to really put you over the edge. But Wayne Simmons is a first step. And for Montreal, kind of surprised, to be honest, because, I mean, it kind of sold out max term for Josh Anderson yesterday. 7 years is quite the long time to be in Montreal for a place he's never played a game yet, so that'll be interesting to see there too.
Yeah, that was a pretty shocking contract to me. I mean, obviously he's had his injury struggles over the last couple of years, and again, for a guy that's never played a game, signing a 7-year deal worth, I think it was 5.8 AAV, just a lot of money to fork out for a guy who we don't know what he's going to be coming off of a major surgery. So obviously Montreal and Marc Bergevin, thought that he was coveted enough that they could give him that contract and move on from Max Domi. Just what do you think of the whole Max Domi situation as well?
Yeah, I was kind of surprised that they moved on with Max Domi. I mean, I think Max is a great player. I got to see him a lot coming up in London. I mean, he was one of the best players you could see in London. Always, all the time when he's out there. I mean, he's exciting to watch. So that's I was kind of surprised, but Josh Anderson's a great player. I like his game. I mean, another former Londonite for London Knight. But I like his game, but I just think Max Domi fit Montreal. The identity. I think Max Domi is a guy that needs to play in a big market. It's exciting to watch him play in a big market.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Colin, really looking forward to being able to discuss free agency with you today. It's going to be hopefully we get a lot of stuff happening at noon, so about 20 minutes from now. Just trying to get everything posted on our social media so everybody has an opportunity. Again, if you guys want, join in on the live chat as well. We have the live chat on Spreaker going, so if you guys are listening to the episode, it's the only place you can listen to it is on Spreaker right now, and you can go. I think you make a free profile and just join in on the chat, and we can discuss what you guys are talking about in there. So again, it's going to be a long one. We're going to take some commercial breaks in between. We got some stuff to talk about with our sponsors as well, but Kyle and I have done this before, so this isn't our first rodeo, so we'll have fun with this. But
the Peyton Manning line, I like that.
Absolutely. So yeah, Peyton Manning, sure. Shout out to you Broncos fans. But we're not here to talk about the NFL today. I'm about done with the NFL season the way my team's been going. I'm sure you're the same way, Colin. So I'm glad that we're getting some NHL talk because the NFL is just I'm about done with it right now. So what are you hearing on Twitter right now, Colin? Some of the juicy rumors that you've been hearing so far through the as we're 20 minutes away here.
So I've heard the one about the Toronto, Montreal after Wayne Simmons. Those are the last two on the list. And then one more I've heard that Bobby Ryan, the Detroit Red Wings are the front runner for Bobby Ryan. I like that. I would love that signing just because I think that Bobby Ryan definitely has a chip on his shoulder for sure. I mean, he had he had a great turnaround year, and all the stuff he's went through. And for Ottawa to do what they did to him is kind of a slap in the face. It's kind of disrespected. I know for a player standpoint, you feel that way. And it doesn't really rub off well on the Ottawa organization. But I think, on the other hand, him going to Detroit would be ginormous. All the stuff he's went through. I mean, Steve Yzerman knows that. He was a player. So I think from Yzerman's standpoint, he's saying, well, we know what he is. I've been through that. I know what a player goes through on and off the ice. Let's take the chance on him. So I really like that signing.
Yeah, if it does happen, I think Bobby Ryan is definitely going to be a guy that has a chip on his shoulder and still has something to prove in this league. And we saw his how revitalized he was last year coming back to Ottawa after going through all of the adversity in his personal life. So I think a guy like Bobby Ryan is a solid fit for a team, and I think you're going to get his 100%. Commitment to the team, because he still wants to show that he can play in this league. A guy that was a former second overall draft pick behind Sidney Crosby. So a guy that was obviously very coveted early on in his career and hit a roadblock, and now he's been able to overcome that, and it still looks like that he's got some fire to contribute to an NHL roster.
Yeah, and I think I honestly think he has that fire in him. I think he's going to have a good year. I think you're going to get decent points out of him.
Yeah, absolutely. So, we obviously had the rumor that the Henrik Lundqvist to Washington rumor.
Yeah, that looks to be official right at 12 once the deadline opens. It looks like Henrik Lundqvist to the Washington Capitals for 1 year.
Wow.
Good for him. I would love to see Washington win the cup, because I feel like other than Ovechkin was that guy that you really want to see win a cup, because it's Alex Ovechkin. You don't want to see one of the greatest goal scorers of all time to go down without winning a cup. I mean, it's tough to be in the Hall of Fame without a Stanley Cup, so that's great to see Ovechkin win one. And I think Henrik Lundqvist is the goalie version of Alex Ovechkin. He's one of the best goalies of all time, especially my generation. I mean, growing up, Henrik Lundqvist was the guy, King Henrik, right? So it'd be great if he gets about 30 games for Washington, be the backup. Great veteran presence for the young goaltenders in Washington.
Yeah.
I like that. I mean, he's not the way the Rangers used him last year wasn't pretty. I don't like him being a third goalie, being scratched sometimes. I didn't like that too much. I thought that was disrespectful for a guy that's a veteran goaltender who's done so much for that organization. For a team that wasn't really going anywhere, to sit him, healthy scratch him sometimes, I didn't really like that too much, but it's a great move on for him to go to Washington.
Yeah, I think if he finally has a chance to win a Stanley Cup with Washington, hopefully he can get it done. The longtime New York Ranger, I know a few Ranger fans, and they say that he is the greatest Rangers goaltender of all time. It's like 1-2 with him and Mike Richter. So it would be very nice to see King Henrik finally hoist that Stanley Cup. And obviously Washington is still a contender at this point, so we'll see if they can get it done for him. We don't know what the other goaltender situation will be like with their second goaltender, if it's going to be Braden Holtby, or maybe he moves on. Maybe we get Samsonov as the other goalie. We'll see. But I mean, with Henrik Lundqvist signing with Washington, you have to think that the Braden Holtby rumors would be swirling around of where he's going.
Yeah, Braden Holtby's rumored to go to Calgary.
Okay, so
But Calgary, that's another thing. Calgary's been interesting, because Calgary, you hear the rumors about them being after Anton Khudobin as well from Dallas, and Cam Talbot rumored to go to Dallas. That's kind of surprising as well, because would go after Braden Holtby.
Yeah, so there's going to be a lot of good stuff today, guys. We're actually going to take a quick commercial break here before we get to 12 o'clock here, so stay with us. We'll be right back here on the Free Agent Frenzy Show, on the Under Review podcast, and right here on the Armchair GM Sports Network, so stay tuned. We'll be right back. Carmine's Pizzeria Italiano, serving traditional-style Italian pizzas made with the freshest, top-quality ingredients. Loaded subs and their famous chicken wings. Winners of the Reader's Choice Diamond Award, 4 years running from Niagara this week for Best Pizza and Wings in Niagara Falls. Home of the best tray and wing combo in town for the price and quality. Open daily from 3 p.m. to 9 p.m., located on the corner of Drummond Road and Dunn Street. Available for call-ahead pickup or delivery at 905-374-4400. Make sure to like them on Facebook and view their website for their menu at carmine'spizzeria.ca. Carmine's Pizzeria Italiano. Way too good. As we all adjust to this new world that we're living in today, masks are now mandatory, and Niagara's own Custom PPE is Canada's leading face mask provider. Visit them online at customppe.ca and choose between several mask options with different colors and sizes. Add your organization, company, or team logo so you make your face masks unique. Available to purchase online 24/7 at customppe.ca and shipped within 1 week. They have the best prices and quickest turnaround in Canada, and no order is too big or too small. Also offering custom floor stickers as well as face and counter shields for your business or workplace. Visit customppe.ca and use the code ARMCHAIR at checkout for 20% off your custom or blank face mask today. Custom PPE, Canada's leading face mask provider. Attention job seekers, if you are currently looking for work in the Niagara region, you owe it to yourself to check out the services provided by the Niagara Employment Help Center, located at 6100 Thoroldstone Road, Niagara Falls, directly across from the Camisos Plaza. Their free services include resume and cover letter writing, community resource and referral information, local labor market information, job search strategies, assistance with clarifying employment training and career goals, employment counseling and job search support, second career information and registration assistance, and all their services are currently provided by appointment only. So give them a call at 905-358-0021 or visit their website at ehc.on.ca, the Niagara Employment Help Center. This Employment Ontario program is funded by the Government of Ontario.
You're listening to the Armchair GM Sports Network, the Niagara region's best local source for North American sports podcasting coverage. By sports fans, for sports fans.
All right, guys, welcome back to the Under Review podcast and our Free Agent Frenzy for the NHL. Very special edition here. Brandon Caputo here with guest co-host Colin Ward from the 0-60 podcast. Colin, we're about 10 minutes away from the actual official start of free agency and being able to actually, officially sign with new teams. But let's go and take a look at the top 10 board that you have up right now for the NHL free agents. Let's just take a look at those. What do you like from the top 10?
So the top 10, I got Alex Pietrangelo, number 1. I think a little steep, though, for a 31-year-old. I hear he turned down the 8x8 by St. Louis. I think that's a little steep for a 31-year-old. I mean, he'll be 39 at the end of the contract. That's a little different. I don't like that too much, but I like the short-term deal, anything 5 and under. I love that deal for Alex Pietrangelo. Great defenseman. You know what you're going to get from him. Reliable minutes. Number 2, we got Taylor Hall. Taylor Hall, the top forward on the free agent board. Great goal scorer. I think he goes to a contender. I think maybe Colorado. I could see him in Colorado having a very good season.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe Colorado's an option. Torrey Krug, 3. That'll be interesting, because I know Detroit's interested in him. They got a lot of cap space. Hopefully, for my sake, they do. But I know Columbus clearing space, Vegas clearing space last night. It makes you think a little bit of Torrey Krug. But I think it's a fallback plan, though, because I think those two teams are interested in Pietrangelo to start.
Okay.
Calgary, another one. Another one after Pietrangelo, I believe.
What about Jacob Markstrom? We've talked about, it's a little bit of a flooded goalie market this year, and somehow he is still, rumored to be getting upwards of $8 million for Jacob Markstrom. I mean, I don't know about that. I mean, I know that the Red Wings might be a team that could maybe afford to do make a move like that, but if you're one of these teams, especially, we haven't talked about it, Colin, is a little bit, I think we need to discuss it, is that some of these teams might have internal caps, because we don't know, obviously it's going to be probably a flat cap for the next couple of years with the global pandemic happening, but there might be internal caps as well for certain teams that they might not even spend all the way to the actual salary cap of the NHL. They might have their own internal cap. So what do you think about, possibly going out and signing a guy like Jacob Markstrom for $8 million when, you don't really know what the cap's going to look like, and do you really want that on your books?
Goalie, too. I don't think a goalie you want to sign to any longer than 4 years at a time. 4 years is long enough. I don't believe that that's going to happen. $8 million like that. I mean, I don't really see it because it's a goalie. I know Steve Yzerman spoke yesterday evening that for a couple players, he doesn't feel he's going to spend over $8 million. Like you said, the cap not changing. It's going to stay to where it is, possibly go down. Hopefully not, but I think that, a lot of teams aren't going to spend the money. I mean, Montreal seems to be interested, so that's a little risky for Bergevin over there in Montreal, but we'll see. I mean, they obviously got a plan. Hopefully it works out.
Mm-hmm. And then going off the rest of the top 10, I'm looking at NBC Sports, by the way. Evgeny Dadonov, the longtime Florida Panther, along with Mike Hoffman as well. So two Florida Panther wingers there with Dadonov and Hoffman hitting the free agent market.
Hoffman might be the quietest 30-goal scorer. The quietest. You don't really hear much about him, but he's a great player. I mean, that's a great signing for a good team. That's another one, maybe a fallback plan for Colorado if they don't get Taylor Hall. Maybe Boston goes after a Mike Hoffman. Team like that needs a goal scorer, next year goal scorer, and win a cup. Those are great options for them.
And going off the rest of them, we already talked about Henrik Lundqvist, and he's most likely going to sign with the Washington Capitals. A couple defensemen here at the 9 and 10 spot, TJ Brody and Kevin Shattenkirk. What do you think those two guys could do for a team? We know what Kevin Shattenkirk did, signing the 1-year deal in Tampa, and he won the Stanley Cup, so it worked out well for him.
Yeah, I think that's great. I think that Shattenkirk was a great signing for Tampa. That was kind of that signing to put them over the hump. It let Hedman play his spot and try not to be too much. I know that's hard when he plays that many minutes, but I don't mind that. That's solid. For Brody, he's another one, a third, fourth defenseman. Hopefully on a decent team, get you over the hump, and hopefully you're a contender out of it.
A guy that I think intrigues me a lot that might be in Kevin Shattenkirk territory is a guy like Tyson Barrie. Obviously, he went to the Toronto Maple Leafs and did not have that much success with the Leafs. And
Toronto pressure.
Sure.
He'll have a good year. That's a big signing. I was talking about that yesterday, that's a big signing. Tyson Barrie's going to have a good year. I take my chances because, I mean, you're not going to have to overpay him because he had the bad year. So he's going to get less dollar. And, I mean, the chance of return is a lot like a Bobby Ryan signing. I mean, there's not any negative things you could do with that signing.
Yeah, I mean, again, he's not going to get paid, the $8 million like it was probably rumored that he was going to be making, after he had left Colorado and had the 1 year with the Leafs. It looks like you might be able to get him on a shorter term deal for even less money as well, because he didn't have a great year with the Leafs and he kind of has to reprove himself that he can still be, a top pair defenseman in the league, which he thinks he can be. So if he goes out there and tries to get a Kevin Shattenkirk type deal, a 1 year deal, prove himself deal, and then get another long term deal, I think a team would definitely hit a home run with that.
Yeah, for sure. Patrick Maroon's an option too. I think Patrick Maroon's a guy that's going to have a lot of interest from good teams because 2 straight years, a cup on 2 different teams. I mean, if I'm the Colorado Avalanche, the Boston Bruins, who are probably right now the teams that are the favorites to win the cup as of now for next year. I mean, the cup just got handed out a week ago, so that's a ways away. But I think that Patrick Maroon's going to get a lot of calls.
Going off of some, we got a few Nashville players in here. We got Craig Smith and Michael Granlund. So what do you think about those two guys leaving Nashville, and where do you think you could have a spot with Michael Granlund? Obviously, we don't really know, is he a forward or is he a center or a winger? He's tried to play center a little bit, didn't work out great. He played wing with Nashville. Craig Smith, we know he's just a goal scorer. What do you think those two guys could do on the free agent market, and how do you think that might affect Nashville losing those two guys?
I mean, I think that's a move for Nashville to get Phil Tomasino up next year. I believe Tomasino, their first-round pick last season out of Niagara, now the Oshawa General. I think that he makes Nashville this season, because especially with the no OHL season. So I think he makes Nashville, and I think that's why they're just clearing space for a young guy to come in and take their spot. Granlund's a great player. I mean, he kind of has that Swiss Army knife, playing the wing, playing center. You can kind of do whatever you got to do with him. I mean, you'll get a lot of use out of that, right? So I think that he's a team that could go to a team that needs depth. Maybe a team like the Buffalo Sabres go after that to help out their young guys coming up. I mean, Cozen's going to make the Sabres this year, I imagine. So maybe that's a team, Buffalo Sabres, that could be interested, or maybe the Ottawa Senators as well. Ottawa's got to spend money, right? And I mean, that's totally up to the ownership, but I believe the Ottawa Senators could be a dark horse in this move.
Okay, so we're about 3 minutes away from the NHL Free Agent Frenzy officially being open. Got some epic music playing for when officially opens at 12 noon. Let's quickly talk about a few goaltenders here, Colin. We got Anton Khudobin, obviously had a great run with Dallas, and the longtime Chicago Blackhawk, Corey Crawford, the 2-time Stanley Cup champion. They're moving on from him. So where do you think a couple of aging goaltenders, some possibilities and openings for them with Khudobin and Corey Crawford?
Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, the automatic thing before Toronto got Jack Campbell would be the Toronto Maple Leafs. and they haven't had a backup goaltender since McElhinney there 3 years ago now.
Yeah,
so
Grandpa Kurt.
Yeah, so it's been a while. So I mean, that would be an option, but I think Toronto's going to go Wayne Simmons' way. As long as we said off air, as long as it doesn't get over $3 to $4 million, because then that's out of Toronto's range, and that's way overpaying a guy like Wayne Simmons. I wouldn't be that.
Yeah, I mean, especially for, again, what you're going to get from Wayne Simmons at this point in his career. He's not going to be the 30, 35 goal scorer like he used to be. You know, he's still going to be that great net front presence, but again, do you want to fork out that kind of a contract to a guy like Wayne Simmons at this point in his career? I don't know about that. But again, if Montreal and Toronto were the two bidders, I mean, they're rivals, so they could try to just jack up the price on each other, so it could end up getting pretty ridiculous by the end of it.
That's what I think Bergevin's doing. I don't think Montreal's a real contender in that, because Montreal's interested in Winberg as well, recently let go from Columbus. Montreal, I think that's who they're more interested in. I just think they're upping the price for the Leafs to overpay for Wayne Simmons.
Okay.
Where you hope for the Toronto fans' sake that the Leafs stand their ground, don't get too caught up in that, and hopefully they get something going on with that reasonable signing, because they need someone with grit, the Toronto Maple Leafs, for sure.
Yeah, you'd think, especially they're moving on from a guy like Kyle Clifford as well. So,
yeah, it sounds like Wayne Simmons to the Toronto Maple Leafs as well.
And yeah, here's Lavoie can confirm Montreal Canadiens are out on Wayne Simmons. So
it's
there's
probably
that.
Likely the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Great, can't wait to see that happen.
It's interesting. That's an interesting move for them, because his foot speed. We'll see what that's like in a fast Atlantic. I mean, every team in the Atlantic has a speedster. We'll see. It's a great move, though, for Toronto. They're going to get grit. They need grit desperately. I mean, nobody in their top six has that edge to them. That's when they get pushed around, when the going gets tough, they put their foot down and step up. That was their problem last year, for the last couple of years now, actually. But I like that move. That's a solid signing, Wayne Simmons. You'll have clear space out there on the ice for sure.
So, again, it's 12 o'clock now, Austin, and for you listeners out there, it's official. Players can now sign with whatever team they choose. So we're going to be with you guys here for the next 2.5 hours up until 2:30 Eastern Time, recording for 3 hours this afternoon. So hopefully you guys can stay with us. Again, if you're in the live chat, I will try to check that as much as I can periodically and have your voice heard in the live chat. So got this epic music playing, Colin, so I'm awaiting for the first signing to break here so I can have something to play this epic music for.
Yeah, I'm just waiting here too. The messages should be coming off here shortly.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully it's not like some years we get in the NHL trade deadline show where we get some minor swap of AHL players that we have to talk for the first 2 hours of the show, and basically just speculation for most of the show. It can get pretty monotonous at that point. So I'm hoping for some good stuff here as we hit noon here.
Yeah, do you think any offer sheets?
I mean, Cirelli would be an interesting one to kind of force Tampa's hand to maybe have to make a move for one of their top forwards. If somebody would offer sheet a guy like Anthony Cirelli, we'll have to wait and see. But I guess the trade that we forgot to talk about, Colin, that happened really late last night was Paul Stastny going back to the Winnipeg Jets in exchange for a 4th-round pick and Carl Dahlstrom, basically a salary dump for the Vegas Golden Knights, which was interesting because Paul Stastny was a Winnipeg Jet before he signed with Vegas, so he's going back to Winnipeg. Yeah,
that's the Vegas Golden Knights clearing up cap space. Just because I think they got something going on here for Torrey Krug and Alex Pietrangelo.
Okay, well, I mean, they're going to have to find money a lot of places. They
first signing.
Okay, so hang on. I got to play the intro breaking news.
I'm a newbie.
What do we got?
We have Wayne Simmons to the Toronto Maple Leafs. 1 year, $1.5 million. Great deal. Full no movement clause.
Okay, so wow. Okay, they're not paying him that much money. So he obviously must have wanted to go to Toronto. 1 year, 1.5, you said?
Yep, that's a great signing. 1.5 is nothing. The Toronto Maple Leafs now can go after a guy like a Corey Crawford maybe as a backup goalie. I doubt that because of Jack Campbell. But they have now $4 million to spend on something big, so that's big for the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Yeah, they definitely needed a guy like that. So if this signing is official, Toronto Maple Leafs getting Wayne Simmonds, a guy that they desperately need in front of the net, and a guy that brings a lot of grit if they're not re-signing Kyle Clifford. Again, like you mentioned, they've got a projected $5.4 million in cap. If Simmonds eats 1.5 of that, they're going to have just under $4 million to spend on hopefully a defenseman or two. You would think that they'd have to look in the defensive route and try to shore up that decor, which obviously hasn't been great.
Yeah, Wayne Simmonds was also... there's a quote here, either from his agent or himself, probably his agent. He left more dollar on the table for the desire to win and play for your hometown. So, you want to come home, a lot like John Tavares. Great move.
Yeah, I guess so. So, if... I don't know if Cirelli gets an offer sheet. It's interesting, but we'll have to see. I mean, if I'm a team and I know that Tampa has to make a move at some point for one of their top players, I would offer sheet Cirelli, because if it works out, you get a great player like Anthony Cirelli, and if not, you force Tampa's hand to have to do something, because obviously they are going to be strapped right now, and they're going to end up having to lose, one or two guys off of this Stanley Cup winning roster here.
Yeah, the Toronto Maple Leafs now have 4.4 or $4 million to spend. $4 million to spend.
Okay,
that's not bad. That's solid. Yeah, you can get a good player with that. I like that. That's a good signing by Kyle Dubas.
Okay, so we're still waiting on a few other things to come through here.
Tyler Johnson is on waivers.
Wow. Okay, so Tyler Johnson, there you go. There's a move by Tampa Bay. Tyler Johnson, the longtime Tampa Bay Lightning forward. He was on their team that lost in the Stanley Cup Finals years ago. He is now going to be put on conditional waivers. So, wow, Tyler Johnson, he has a cap hit of $5 million for the next 4 years. He's 30 years old, but he was kind of a Swiss Army knife for the Tampa Bay Lightning, going up and down their lineup, playing on the wing, playing center. So, I mean, if you're a team that's looking for a solid second line forward, I mean, Tyler Johnson could be your guy.
Also, the Montreal Canadiens have signed Victor Mete. They re-signed Victor Mete to 1 year.
Okay, Victor Mete staying with the Montreal Canadiens. There it is, Tyler Johnson on waivers, according to Elliot Friedman. So you heard that here first from Colin Ward. Other than that, John Shannon makes it official. Wayne Simmonds signs in Toronto. So there's that.
Oh, another goalie. Another goalie on the mix.
Okay, so do we have a signing?
Corey Schneider is on waivers.
Okay, wow, another goalie. Yeah, another guy that he needs to kind of go somewhere and try to revitalize whatever's left of his career. A guy that, has gone down to the AHL at some point, so that's another guy that kind of really needs to have a solid year and a solid comeback if he wants to continue his NHL career somewhere. So hopefully Corey Schneider can find a job somewhere. It probably won't be as a starter, but hopefully as a backup he can kind of prove himself that he still belongs in this league.
For sure. And also, Oliver Ekman-Larsson, no deal by the deadline. He will be staying in Arizona, reported by Elliot Friedman.
Yeah, that was a pretty interesting rumor that if he wasn't dealt by the trade deadline day, that he would be staying in Arizona. So at least for one more year, Oliver Ekman-Larsson is staying with the Arizona Coyotes. I think we just had a re-sign of Dominik Kubalik, extended 2 years by the Chicago Blackhawks. So their star rookie forward who had a breakout season this year for the Blackhawks, staying for a 2-year extension. So a very nice signing there for the Blackhawks.
Oh, we got another prediction here. Bobby Ryan, paperwork isn't complete yet, but it sounds like Bobby Ryan 1 year to Detroit.
Okay, so that would be, again, really nice for the Detroit Red Wings. That was from Bruce Garrioch.
Yeah, if he can have a good year, if he has a good year, you can flip him at the deadline. That's a great signing for Detroit. Mm-hmm. And I have a feeling Tyler Johnson as well. But I think that's a contender pick. I think a team like Columbus, who cleared space last night, all of a sudden say, hey, Tyler Johnson's available. We have to make that move. I mean, he might be able to put us over the top on our from 6 to 9 forward. That'd be nice.
Yeah, I mean, again, he's gonna be very motivated to continue his career here, and I think Bobby Ryan can be a very good contributor for the Red Wings. He's gonna get every opportunity to play, significant minutes for this team.
Yeah, exactly. That's a great move for them. I like it.
Yep. So, Anything else to report right now? It doesn't really look like it. So for that sake, I'm going to give our first plug to one of our sponsors here. J&L Flooring is a Niagara-based specialty flooring and design company. Simplified processes and making homes beautiful are their specialties. Their October special is vinyl plank flooring at spectacular prices and includes a cleaning kit absolutely free, a retail value of $69.99. Again, some restrictions do apply, but give them a call at 905-358-3299 and J&L Flooring to start today. So, Colin, let's continue on here with looking at the top free agent list here and what else is available here. You know, we're going down the list here. We're kind of almost in the 20s here. So again, not the greatest of signings here, but you have
Torrey Krug.
So we have a signing.
So no, not official, but it looks like there's 3 teams now.
Okay.
Boston might be in on it though, so it doesn't look like he might not be leaving Boston as of yet. So we'll see, because the Ekman-Larsson move, I feel like Boston was big into that. So now I don't think Boston can afford to lose Torrey Krug.
Well, I mean, I don't think that they're going to want to pay him what he wants. So, I mean, he's going to be walking for sure, in my opinion, because I don't see the Boston Bruins forking out $8 million to a guy like Torrey Krug. I think the Bruins are pretty content with just using that cap space elsewhere. They have $14 million in cap, so I mean, they could sign Torrey Krug if they wanted to, but I think it's a smart move for Boston to kind of just move on and cut ties at this point, just for the fact that they can use that money elsewhere. And we know the Bruins don't like to spend a lot of high-end money on players. I mean, you look at the top of their cap. I mean, Bergeron's making 6.8, Pastrnak 6.6, Marchand 6.1, McAvoy 4.9. So they don't like to pay top dollar for a lot of these guys. If you want to be a Bruin, you kind of have to take a pay cut for this team to be competitive.
Oh, for sure. And I'm just seeing here that Columbus is also strong into Krug. So it's Columbus, Detroit. There's a few more.
Okay.
So I'll find it here in a bit.
They're just flowing in right now, all the rumors, so it's interesting. But yeah, there's TSN has just put up the tweet about Wayne Simmons signing the 1-year deal in Toronto. That's gonna hurt. I can't wait for all the Leaf fans to do the before and after pictures of Wayne Simmons in a Sabres jersey to Wayne Simmons in a Leaf jersey. Can't wait for all those. That's gonna be fun. Can't wait for that. But with that being said, not really much else going on. So, Colin, I think we're gonna.
Speaking of the Buffalo Sabres, apparently they're interested in Taylor Hall. 10 teams. There's 10 teams in the Taylor Hall. Apparently, Buffalo's one of them.
Yeah, so 10 teams. 10 teams apparently are going to present to Taylor Hall. So he might not be signed in one day. So he might take a little while. So we'll have to wait and see with that.
Yeah, who knows? Hopefully it's today. But yeah, that's a while. 10 teams, you got to make a good decision there. You got to be sure.
Do you think somebody claims Tyler Johnson for the $5 million cap hit, knowing that he has his contract protection, or do you think that they wait and try to just sign him as strictly a free agent?
I'd take the chance. I think the Ottawa Senators could, because they got all that space. The Buffalo Sabres could, they got all that space. The Detroit Red Wings could, they have all that space. Those 3 teams probably, maybe New Jersey, because New Jersey bought out Schneider. But I think New Jersey going after releasing Schneider as a goaltender. I think they have a goalie in mind that they want to sign.
Okay. So continuing on with the rumors here, don't really know, what to expect here. There's a lot of, you can go on whatever hockey rumor website you want and kind of talk about those rumors. But, will there be an offer sheet for somebody like Matthew Barzal as well? I mean, we're talking about offer sheets and possibly Anthony Cirelli. Do you think that somebody might try to offer sheet Barzal, knowing that the Islanders don't like to fork out high amounts of money as well?
Yeah, that's risky. The compensation isn't that great. I mean, I don't think teams want to give up multiple picks. I mean, Barzal's worth it, but I don't think Barzal's worth 2-3 first-round picks. I don't think that's worth it, but we'll see. I mean, the compensation, it's for $6 to $8 million. It's a first, second, and a third-round choice. So that's probably his range, 6 to 8. I don't know. I don't think teams would want to give up that much for him.
Mm-hmm.
He's a great player. He's a game changer, but that's a lot, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So So far, we've only got Wayne Simmons to the Toronto Maple Leafs as the first official signing of the free agent frenzy. So again, we're going to be here with you guys up until 2:30 Eastern time. I know it's just the fact that we can only record for up to 3 hours at a time. So we were on the air at 11:30 for you guys, and hopefully you guys can get some valuable information here. Again, join in on the live chat as well. If you guys want to have your voices heard, I'm trying to check the chat as periodically as I can. We got some stuff in here. We have Kyle Aikett, the co-owner of the Armchair GM Sports Network. He is at work, but he is in the live chat, so shout out to Kyle. Here he goes. Let's go Wayne Simmons, and he better have some good reactions when Pietrangelo signs with Toronto. Okay, well, now he's just trying to be a troll, but thank you for joining in on the live chat, Kyle.
We got something.
We got something? Can I play it?
Nope, not yet.
Okay.
Not yet. You can go to break.
Okay, so guys, we're going to take a quick commercial break, and we're going to come back and regroup and see if we can get any more signings to break for you guys. So be right back here on the Free Agent Frenzy Show and right here on the Armchair GM Sports Network. J&L Flooring is a Niagara-based specialty flooring and design company. They take great pride in providing elite customer service and support. They are a specialty flooring and decor boutique shop with a beautiful showroom, great pricing, and a wide variety and truly unique selection of products. All their products are environmentally friendly and responsibly produced, so you can feel great about your flooring choices. Their goal as a local business is to build authentic relationships based on honesty and integrity that they foster with respect and authenticity. Offering unique and wide range of quality products presented by a knowledgeable and patient team, they connect with their customers to simplify the process to make their life easier and to make their homes beautiful. Visit them at 4424 Montrose Road, Niagara Falls, or find out more at jnlflooring.com. Open Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. through 5 p.m., and Saturday, 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. 905-358-3299 J&L Flooring. The Spicy Olive Bar and Grill is located on the top of Clifton Hill and just a 5-minute walk from the majestic Niagara Falls. It is conveniently nestled in the heart of the tourist district. A family-owned and operated business, the Spicy Olive opened its doors in May of 2003 and has since been established as an authentic and unique Italian restaurant and bar. Its rustic ambiance and time-worn finishing provide a warm and inviting dining experience. Offering an array of delicious dishes, they specialize in authentic Italian cuisine, homemade sauces, fresh ingredients, and consistently providing a strong foundation on which they build their menu. As night falls, the Spicy Olive shifts to a lively lounge where drinks and live music come together to make a perfect evening. For more than 15 years, they have provided not only for their dedicated locals, but their customers from all over the world with authentic Italian food and great live entertainment. Open daily 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. for dinner and till 2 a.m. for drinks. Check out their new menu and book reservations on their website at Spicy Olive Bar and Grill, it's with an E at the end, .com, or call 905-371-2323 for reservations as well. The Spicy Olive Bar and Grill.
You're listening to the Armchair GM Sports Network, the Niagara region's best local source for North American sports podcasting coverage. By sports fans, for sports fans.
Welcome back, guys, to the Under Review podcast and our NHL Free Agent Frenzy special here. Brandon Caputo and Colin Ward from the 0-60 podcast. And Colin, during the commercial break, we had something to break, so let's play that intro breaking news.
So it sounds like Bobby Ryan to the Detroit Red Wings, 1 year, $1 million a year.
Great signing. Great move.
Yeah, they're at $27 million now to spend until the cap for Detroit, so that's pretty solid. It would be $34 million as of now once Zetterberg goes on that long-term IR. So it would be $34 million right now they could spend.
Damn.
So that's bad. Yeah, I don't think they're done, but that's a great move, Bobby Ryan. Great depth move. It gives him a right-handed shot that can score.
I don't know, man. Only $27 million left in cap space. I think that Bobby Ryan deal kind of seals them the fact that they're going to be out on Torrey Krug now. I don't think they can afford it with only $26 million cap space.
Hey, if I had $26 million cap space right now, I'd be all over that. I mean, I would think they're the favorites. I would think they're the favorites because they have the most money to spend.
Maybe Detroit has an eternal cap. Maybe they want to have $25 extra million in cap space.
Well, they got about 33 prospects on their roster, so that's crazy. Their prospects list, it's its own team. Their draft pick list over the last 3 years, it's its own team, which is incredible.
Yeah.
You don't see that too often.
Yep, Bobby Ryan, there it is, official with the Detroit Red Wings. So far we got Bobby Ryan and Wayne Simmons, a couple of veteran forwards trying to kind of, get their careers back on track after a few down years. So a good low risk, high reward.
Wayne Simmons was ranked 23rd on the free agency board. Bobby Ryan was ranked 29th.
Yeah, I got to get off NBC Sports, man. They only go up to like number 22. They're slacking. So I got
100 for you. You're good.
Okay, perfect. What's that on Sportsnet?
TSN.
Perfect. TSN free agency. So, guys, hopefully you guys are enjoying the show so far. Again, not the greatest start for us. We only got two signings to talk about, but we discussed some of the possible destinations for some of these top free agents in the first half hour of the show. So again, thank you very much for staying with us here and listening in. And again, guys, get in on that live chat as well. We actually had a friend of mine, Mark from New Jersey, even though New York now. He's a big Philadelphia Flyers fan. He says, I absolutely love Simmer, but I think he's cooked. I think you guys made a great point. I think Detroit gives him a place to play, and he's good. And he's gone by the deadline if possible. So, thank you, Mark, for that. And hopefully your Flyers do something today. We'll have to wait and see. But, Colin, I mean, even if, let's say Bobby Ryan is playing well with the Red Wings and, they're out of it by the deadline, they could go ahead and flip him for, maybe a decent mid-round draft pick, and it could end up looking like a great move for Steve Yzerman.
Yeah, it's all about acquiring picks at the deadline when you're rebuilding, right? More picks, more chances you get to find a young franchise player. And I mean, the way the league is now, it's all drafting. Drafting. Free agency is very hard because, like we said, you make one signing for $8 million, you're screwed for 2 years. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, it's a great move. It reminds me a lot of the Thomas Vanek move. When they acquired Vanek 3 years ago now, they acquired Thomas Vanek. And they shipped them to Florida. That was a great signing because it was for the minimum. It wasn't much. And they were able to ship them, which is great. So the one 2 years ago wasn't that great because he didn't get the production. But a couple of years ago, this reminds me a lot of that for Bobby Ryan. Gives him a chance to play, like a similar role to what he did in Ottawa. Because Ottawa, like Detroit, was not a strong team. So it's pretty strong.
Yeah, and again, sorry?
We got news. Not official, but okay. We got a rumor. So, what do you want?
Let's hear it.
So it sounds, per Elliot Friedman, it sounds like Patrick Maroon and Luke Schenn are closing in on a return to Tampa Bay.
Okay, so Patrick Maroon is going to continue his Stanley Cup celebration tour with Tampa Bay, it looks like. So
repeat, go for the hat trick. Repeat.
Yeah, we'll 3 years in a row for Pat Maroon. Jeez, who would have thought that would ever happen? But yeah, to close out on the Bobby Ryan and Wayne Simmons, again, 1 year deal, very low cap hit. So again, they're just solid, 1 year deals that really have no long term ramifications on your negative ramifications on your team. You're not going out and signing a guy like Josh Anderson for 7 years and not knowing, when are you going to possibly have to dump off this contract. This is solid 1 year deals for guys that are quality NHL veterans that are still trying to prove they can play in this league, and they go to 2 good opportunities for Simmons in Toronto, with they needed grit, and Bobby Ryan in Detroit, where they need consummate pros to play up and down their lineup to kind of bring those young kids along. So I think Bobby Ryan and Wayne Simmons both add a lot in the experience category to a team like Toronto and Detroit as well.
Yeah, for sure. Great veteran presence for Detroit and for Toronto. I mean, Toronto needs that guy. Wayne Simmons played in big games. Like, Philly fans love Wayne Simmons. Wayne Simmons was a vital part of that team when they made playoff runs. So that's a great move. I mean, they got that in Buffalo too, as you know. He wasn't the worst player in Buffalo. He helped. He was effective. And I think that's what you're going to get in Toronto.
Yeah, and I mean, you heard what Jack Hughes said about Wayne Simmons last year as well. I mean, he helped him along a lot in his rookie year for New Jersey, so they loved him as well.
Low risk, high reward. You can't lose those.
Yeah, absolutely. So, anything else going on, Colin? Any other rumors that you're seeing on Twitter right now?
Nothing as of yet, but hopefully soon.
Mm-hmm. And again, let's continue on with just talking about some of the other team. We've talked a lot about the East, Colin, but let's take a look at the Western Conference. Obviously, we mentioned that Oliver Ekman-Larsson is going to be staying with the Arizona Coyotes, at least for the foreseeable future in this one with the... At least for this year. He said that he would not move his no-trade clause if he was not moved before this deadline. So what are you thinking out in the Western Conference? Obviously, Vegas has cleared up some cap space. What are you thinking from the West? Who do you think might be big players out there?
Like you said, Colorado, Vegas, those teams. I wonder if Dallas, Dallas, they got so close to winning the Stanley Cup. I mean, it hurts, and they don't want to be a one-hit wonder, that team that goes to the finals one year and then they're never there again. I know they want to get Jamie Benn, Tyler Seguin a championship. So maybe Dallas is a team that goes out and gets something. Or maybe LA goes out and gets a veteran player for their young guys coming up. I mean, Dallas, $13 million right on the projected cap space right now. That's a team that's possibly going to do something.
And it's interesting because, They moved on from Anton Khudobin, so they didn't want to bring him back. Obviously, he led them all the way through the Stanley Cup playoffs here. And I just saw that you had liked a tweet here. Expected Boston will sign Torrey Krug to a 6-year, $42 million contract this afternoon. I don't know if that is official.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. Again, that just seems like speculation at this point. This guy, my tweets are sometimes good. Yeah, okay. Well, again, we'll take that with a grain of salt if that is true or not. But just another rumor for you guys to salivate on there. Torrey Krug, 6-year, $42 million with Boston. Again, that's not official whatsoever.
Yeah, I wouldn't put too much into that.
Yeah.
Also, if you want to play the news clip, we have a signing.
Okay, here we go. We got the intro breaking news.
So we have Patrick Maroon returning to Tampa Bay for 2 years. So 2-year deal for Patrick Maroon returning to Tampa Bay. And Luke Shen, 1 year. 1 year for a return to Tampa Bay as well. So there's those...
Yep, according to Frank Saravelli of TSN, 2 years, $900K for Pat Maroon.
What a deal.
And 1 year, $800K for Luke Shen. So yeah, Patrick Maroon coming back for $900K per year. That's very solid for a guy that was obviously a key contributor for 2 straight Stanley Cup champion winning teams. So he obviously must have taken a discount to stay with Tampa Bay. So great move by Julien Brisebois and the Tampa Bay Lightning to get Patrick Maroon back at a pretty big bargain, because you would think that if he would have hit the open market or wanted to hit the open market, a team would have probably paid him, probably $2 or $3 million just for the fact that he was on 2 straight Stanley Cup winning teams and what he brings with his physical aspect.
For sure, but seeing the Wayne Simmons signing and then Bobby Ryan signing, I know they're not premier players. They're not going to win you a Stanley Cup on their own, but the dollar was pretty relatively cheap for them. So I think this really hurts those big-time free agents, because these other guys aren't making as much as you would think they would. I mean, when we talked Wayne Simmons, you could see possibly Montreal giving $3 million to him. And I mean, that could have been the offer, but 1.5 and $1 million doesn't seem like much. And then under $1 million now for Patrick Maroon. So I don't think that really helps free agents above them too much.
Another guy that's hit the market. Sorry, Colin, if you have something major, cut me off. But again, the guy that you are familiar with, Andreas Athanasiou from the Detroit Red Wings. He was obviously moved to the Edmonton Oilers at the trade deadline this year and just did not have as great success. So another great move by Detroit there. What do you think the market could be like for Athanasiou? It looks like the Islanders might be interested, but what do you think that he could possibly bring to a team? Obviously, he has top-end speed.
He would be great in an Islanders jersey. So fast. He's got game-changing speed. He just got to figure the other stuff out with him. I mean, he has no puck luck at all. I mean, it's been tough around the net and stuff. He has so many pucks where he overskates. He's too fast. So we'll see what happens there. But, yeah, it's a great signing for them. I can see the Buffalo Sabres as well being after a guy like that, or Winnipeg Jets.
Okay. And according to Michael Russo, again, take that with a grain of salt, Minnesota Wild will sign a goalie here, and Cam Talbot is the guy Minnesota is targeting. Yeah. And, Pierre LeBrun has actually quote-tweeted that Talbot has interest right now from Minnesota, Detroit, Dallas, and New Jersey. So Cam Talbot looks like he's going to be on his way out somewhere, possibly out east. We'll have to wait and see with that. But
that to me sounds that a Jacob Markstrom deal is way too much right now, because I think Detroit's out on Jacob Markstrom.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's way too much.
Yeah, and here's a funny tweet that my good friend Tyler Jones from Nashville retweeted, so shout out to him. Here's a friendly reminder for all GMs today, and it gives a list of about 8 horrendous free agent signings and cap hits. So let's quickly just go over these real quick, Colin. You're going to appreciate one of them, because one of them's a Red Wing. Milan Lucic, 7 years, $42 million. Kyle Okposo, 7 years, $42 million. Andrew Ladd, 7 years, $38.5 million. Louis Eriksson, 6 years, $36 million. Franz Nielsen, 6 years, $31.5 million. David Backes, 5 years, $30 million. Darren Helm, 5 years, $19.25 million. And Troy Brouwer, 4 years, $18 million. So again, that tells you that this might not be the day to sign guys. Sometimes there are mistakes that happen.
We have a signing.
Okay, let's hit it.
Radko Gudas to the Florida Panthers.
Stop. You really made me play the intro breaking news for Radko Gudas?
Hey, I'm a rookie on this show. You told me there's a signing. Play the music.
Man. All right, Radko Gudas, for you Flyers fans out there, longtime Philadelphia Flyers physical defenseman, to say the least. Sounded like he didn't come back for the restarted season and the return to play format with Washington. So now it seems like he wants to go down to Florida to go down there with all their cases and all their positive cases for COVID-19. So I guess he decided not to come back to Washington and wants to go live the good life down in Florida. So good for Radko Gudas, I guess. Wow, I can't believe we just broke a Radko Gudas signing, but that happened here first.
2020.
Got another one. Again, it's not major, so I'm not going to play it. Tyler Mott has agreed to a 2-year contract with the Vancouver Canucks. So Tyler Mott, I believe he was a former draft pick of the Chicago Blackhawks, if I'm not mistaken, and he's kind of bounced around a little bit. So again, a minor signing there for the Vancouver Canucks. Tyler Mott, 2-year contract with the Canucks. In addition, Frank Saravelli says, in addition to Tyler Johnson, the Bolts are also actively trying to move Braden Coburn, another former Flyer. We got a lot of Flyer talk on the show today. Braden Coburn.
Plus they got the Ghosts there, too, that possibly on the trade block.
Yeah, so Braden Coburn has 1 year left at 1.7 in his contract destination, or controls his destination with a no-trade clause. So can't believe Braden Coburn has a no-trade clause, but I guess it is what it is. So they're actively looking to try and move him. Maybe he reunites with the Philadelphia Flyers. Who knows? But
yeah,
it's unfortunate he can't reunite with his original team, the Atlanta Thrashers, unless he wants to just not play hockey. But with that being said, I don't really, a couple minor signings there. And Radko Gudas, ladies, for anybody there who did not know, or who was eyeing where Radko Gudas would go, you heard it here first. He goes to the Florida Panthers. That's that. So I guess nothing else really going on right now, Colin. So I'm going to give a shout out to another one of our sponsors here, Carmine's Pizzeria Italiano, home of the best pizza and home of the best pizza and wing combo in town. Their tray combo is the best in town. $39 plus tax. Can't beat that. Check out their new menu as well, which includes the party pack of chicken wings and a buffalo chicken sub added to the new menu. Call today. Open from 3 p.m. to 9 p.m. 905-374-4400 or carminespizzeria.ca. Again, this month's promo code is Armchair Mushroom for 10% off when you call for pickup or delivery. So again, all you got to do when you call or when you come pick it up or when you're getting it delivered, just say Armchair Mushroom. 10% off your entire order courtesy of the Armchair GM. So who doesn't want a free 10% off on some good pizza and wings? So again, Carmine's Pizzeria Italiano, way too good. So, with that being said, Colin, we had some news in baseball. The longtime New York Yankee Whitey Ford has passed away, so condolences to the Yankees organization, Whitey Ford's family. A big loss there, but we're not here to talk about baseball today. But Alex Pietrangelo, Colin, obviously with the region that we're in, Alex Pietrangelo was probably the greatest Niagara Ice Dog that has ever gone on to play in the NHL and had success in the NHL as far as what he was able to do in his pro career. So what do you think the market's going to be like for Alex Pietrangelo? You mentioned earlier that he had turned down an 8-year for $8 million per year from the St. Louis Blues. Do you think that he is just going to test the market and see if maybe he might circle back around to the Blues for that contract if the market isn't at what he expected? Or do you think that there is a team here that's willing to pay upwards of almost $10 million for a 31-year-old Alex Pietrangelo?
Yeah, that's a steep price, 8x8 for a 31-year-old. I mean, you might only get 1 to 2 years in his prime, right? Then you're stuck with 6. That's how bad deals happen. So it's a tough one. I don't know if that's a signing that happens today just because of that. 8x8 feels a long ways away from what I feel like teams will value him at, just because it's hard with the cap not changing. It's very hard to sign a guy 8x8 for that long at that age. It's very tough.
Mm-hmm. So I'm trying to go through Cap Friendly because they sometimes just break these minor signings that nobody even knows that even happened. So I'm trying to go to Cap Friendly right now and just see if there was any very minor signings.
The Gudas is a 3-year deal at a $2.5 million.
Oh my goodness. 3 years, 2.5 for Radko Gudas per year?
Yes, sir.
Okay, that deserves a sound clip for that. That's what I think of Radko Gudas for 3 years at 2.5. I'm sorry, but
also we got some close signing news. If you want to play it.
Oh, if it's official, I'll play it. If it's not,
not yet. Yeah, not yet because the years aren't out. It's a rumor. So Tyler Pitlick and John Hayden are close to signing with the Arizona Coyotes.
Wow. We're really getting some top-end signings here right now, I'm telling you.
I expected that, though. I expected that. Because the big-name players, you don't know what's going to happen next month, let alone tomorrow maybe. Nobody knows now with the pandemic and stuff. So I can see that.
We had another minor signing that I guess it was a re-sign, so it wasn't really talked about. Malcolm Subban returning to the Chicago Blackhawks on a 2-year deal worth a cap hit of $850,000 per year. So Malcolm Subban returning, I'm assuming, as a backup goalie for the Chicago Blackhawks. So it looks like they're going to be in need of a starter, but for the time being, they bring back Malcolm Subban to just make sure that they have some sort of goalie on the roster for now.
I got a quote from Steve Yzerman as well. General manager for the Detroit Red Wings, says, I really didn't have to hear anyone else out on the Bobby Ryan signing. Short, quick, like Stevie Y always does. Didn't no ands, ifs, buts about it.
Yeah.
Bobby Ryan was always in their plans.
Well, there you go.
That's another thing, like I mentioned about the draft. You didn't really hear much about Bobby Ryan going to the Detroit Red Wings because Steve Yzerman generally doesn't sign the guys that you hear about. Every time you hear a guy, to Detroit, Steve Yzerman doesn't do that. He signs a guy off the board that no one talks about because that's just what Steve Yzerman does. He doesn't leak rumors. Insiders in Detroit are very quiet. They respect Steve Yzerman, and that's what he does.
And buddy Mark in the chat again. If I'm a Florida Panthers fan, Gudas is like getting coal. If I'm a Florida Panthers fan, Gudas is like getting coal at Christmas. So thank you for that. And yeah. Yeah, so Radko Gudas, biggest signing of the day so far. 3 years, at 2.5.
Also a quick bit here, I don't know if you think much of it, if Bobby Ryan does not get moved to the deadline, Luke Glendening. The Detroit Red Wings only had one right-handed shot going into last year's deadline up front. Now they have Lucas Raymond, the recent 4th overall pick, Sam Gagner, and now Bobby Ryan. So that gives you some abilities to possibly move a guy like Luke Glendening, who has value as a good third-line center on a shutdown line for a good team. So that's a solid, quick little bit to think of there.
If only Mike Babcock was coaching a team right now, because we all know his love affair with Luke Glendening. Back when he was coaching the Leafs, we had heard that he had really wanted them to go after a guy like Luke Glendening.
Well, he's a good player. He's an effective player. He's not going to get a lot of points, but he's going to play his role. And he's going to be a shutdown guy. He's great defensively. You don't have to worry about Luke Glendening killing penalties off.
Yeah, so I guess as Detroit Red Wings fans will know, he was called the piano mover by Mike Babcock. So if you're into those guys that move pianos, I guess Luke Glendening is your guy. But he wouldn't be bad for a team.
Justin Abelkader as well. Justin Abelkader was a guy that played on the line with Datsuk and Zetterberg. And that was always the saying that he used to carry the piano because the piano was a fine-tuned instrument like Datsuk and Zetterberg.
Right. So, another friend joining the chat, Rob Ferrioli, big New York Rangers fan. Obviously, shout-outs to him for getting Alexis Lafreniere first overall. Out there in California now, he says Radko Gudas for $2.5 million is disgusting. So, thank you very much for that, Rob, and hopefully your Rangers, maybe they make an offer sheet at somebody, who knows, but must be nice to get the first and second overall pick and move up in the draft lottery 2 years in a row. Must be nice.
Yeah, and that's been... That was Florida's problem last year, overspending on guys. Oh, yeah. We got a signing.
We got a signing? All right, let's hit it.
Yep. John Merrill, defenseman, is going to Detroit for 1 year.
John Merrill, okay, the former New Jersey Devil and Vegas Golden Knight, is heading to Detroit. Any terms of the deal?
Not as of yet. I'm gonna read.
Okay, it hasn't been in yet, but John Merrill is going to the Detroit Red Wings. So the Red Wings making deals so far. They got Bobby Ryan. Oh, there it is. 1 year, $925,000.
That's another one where you might be able to get a 5th to 7th round pick, possibly at the deadline. As of now, for Merrill, it's a lot like last year for Detroit, getting guys on 1 year deals, because they have to add defense this year. So I think they're going to go 1 year deal, 1 year deal, 1 year deal, and at the deadline, you'll see a lot of guys be leaving Detroit.
Again, like if you're Vegas and you're strapped for cap, I don't know why you don't bring back a guy like John Merrill for $925,000. Like, he was an effective defenseman for them, and a guy that obviously isn't going to cost that much money. Why wouldn't Vegas try to re-sign that guy when they clearly have cap problems to begin with?
Yeah, he's an effective player. I mean, you're going to be a good 4th to 6th defenseman. Those guys are big in the playoffs, right? Yeah, I'm kind of surprised about that, too.
Mark in the chat says John Merrill's a Michigan player, so it makes sense.
Yep. So
there's that. Chris Johnson, I guess just getting retweeted, the Luke Shen 1 year, $800,000. So far we've had a couple, again, they're minor signings. A couple of them might really work out well. Wayne Simmons to Toronto, Bobby Ryan to Detroit, Patrick Maroon and Luke Shen re-signing, and then like you mentioned, John Merrill to Detroit. So not a lot of high-end guys going right now, but again, it might take some time. As you mentioned, there's obviously going to be bidding wars and things going on. Guys want to make sure that they get the best deal possible for their clients.
We got one.
Was it worthy?
Well, we can get back to it. It's not official yet.
Okay. If it's Radko Gudas level or worse, don't ask me to play the intro breaking news again, please.
Okay. Oh, it is official, and it is Florida.
Okay. And is it a big one?
Niagara it is.
Okay, let's hit it.
Carter Verhaeghe signs a 2-year deal with the Florida Panthers.
All right. For a newly Stanley Cup champion, Carter Verhaeghe, the former Niagara Ice Dog, is staying in Florida, but he's moving down to Sunrise, going with the Florida Panthers, leaving the Tampa Bay Lightning. So good for Carter Verhaeghe, getting a nice 2-year contract after winning the Stanley Cup. So shout-outs to the former Ice Dog.
Yeah, so that's a solid one. So they're starting to come. They're not big, but they're coming.
Yeah, well, we got something there. I don't know what that means, but might be something big.
Verhaeghe.
Okay. Tyler Mott, yeah, there it is with Vancouver. It's now on cap friendly. And other than that, there were a couple minor re-signs yesterday. I don't know if you want to go over that. Zemgus Girgensons re-signs a 3-year deal with the Sabres. And Austin and myself will talk about this on the Niagara Hockey Load on Sabres edition at some point next week. But I don't understand giving Zemgus Girgensons a 3-year deal. I just shake my head. Other than that, Adam Ernie, another guy that the Red Wings have re-signed for a 1-year deal. Noah Juleson, the defenseman for the Canadiens, re-signs for a 1 year, $700,000. Reed Duke, I guess, wasn't he the first ever Vegas Golden Knight signee?
Yep, the first ever Vegas Golden Knight.
Yeah, so he signs a 1-year deal. These are all, again, like, I think these are mostly, AHL type signings, but you know what? You need those guys on your team, so why not? But obviously the Josh Anderson deal, again, I'm still shaking my head at that deal. I don't know what that is.
That's Bergevin. Bergevin does that, right?
5.5 for 7 years for a guy coming off a major surgery. There was a reason why Columbus was obviously trying to move him, because clearly they were not in the same ballpark of what he wanted with that contract. That was just insanity to me. But maybe he ends up working out well. But there's way too much. There's just, I don't know, way too much confusion with that deal. I'm scratching my head thinking about why they gave him so much that already. I mean, again, he hasn't even played a game. We don't even know what he can do on the ice yet, and coming off that major surgery, so it just doesn't make sense to me. But again, like you mentioned, it is Marc Bergevin. So with that being said, Colin, I think we got a little bit of a dry spell here, so we're going to take a little commercial break here. Stay with us, guys. We'll be back in a few minutes here on the Under Review Hockey Podcast and our Free Agent Frenzy show on the Armchair GM Sports Network. Carmine's Pizzeria Italiano, serving traditional-style Italian pizzas made with the freshest, top-quality ingredients. Loaded subs and their famous chicken wings. Winners of the Reader's Choice Diamond Award 4 years running from Niagara this week for Best Pizza and Wings in Niagara Falls. Home of the best tray and wing combo in town for the price and quality. Open daily from 3 p.m. to 9 p.m. Located on the corner of Drummond Road and Dunn Street. Available for call-ahead pickup or delivery at 905-374-4400. Make sure to like them on Facebook and view their website for their menu at carmine'spizzeria.ca. Carmine's Pizzeria Italiano. Way too good. As we all adjust to this new world that we're living in today, masks are now mandatory, and Niagara's own Custom PPE is Canada's leading face mask provider. Visit them online at customppe.ca and choose between several mask options with different colors and sizes. Add your organization, company, or team logo so you make your face masks unique. Available to purchase online 24/7 at customppe.ca and shipped within 1 week. They have the best prices and quickest turnaround in Canada, and no order is too big or too small. Also offering custom floor stickers as well as face and counter shields for your business or workplace. Visit customppe.ca and use the code ARMCHAIR at checkout for 20% off your custom or blank face mask today. Custom PPE, Canada's leading face mask provider. Attention job seekers, if you are currently looking for work in the Niagara region, you owe it to yourself to check out the services provided by the Niagara Employment Help Center, located at 6100 Thoroldstone Road, Niagara Falls, directly across from the Camisos Plaza. Their free services include resume and cover letter writing, community resource and referral information, local labor market information, job search strategies, assistance with clarifying employment training and career goals, employment counseling and job search support, second career information and registration assistance, and all their services are currently provided by appointment only. So give them a call at 905-358-0021 or visit their website at ehc.on.ca, the Niagara Employment Help Center. This Employment Ontario program is funded by the Government of Ontario.
You're listening to the Armchair GM Sports Network, the Niagara region's best local source for North American sports podcasting coverage. By sports fans, for sports fans.
The following podcast is under review.
After reviewing the play, the call on the ice stands. We gotta go!
All right, guys, welcome back to the Under Review podcast on the Armchair GM Sports Network. Brandon Caputo and Colin Ward from the 0-60 podcast back with you here discussing the NHL Free Agent Frenzy today. And Colin, go ahead and give our listeners here a little bit of insight to what you guys do over at the 0-60 podcast. I know you guys have interviewed a couple of really nice players that are now NHL draftees. So go ahead and kind of just plug what you guys do over at the 0-60 and some of the players that you've had the opportunity to interview.
Yeah, so we cover the OHL. We release our show as of now every Tuesday, 1 o'clock. Our show comes out. You can follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook at the 0-60 podcast. We've had the pleasure of interviewing lots of players so far. Since the pandemic, we just figured we might as well interview players, and get their voices out there. We've had the pleasure of interviewing Hunter Jones, a prospect for the Minnesota Wild, Phil Tomasino, first-round pick for the Nashville Predators. For the Niagara Natives, we've had J.Q. Birdie, Jonah DeSimone on. Those two guys are great guys. We've also had Flint, defenseman, Niagara native, and recently Toronto Marlies signing, which is great for him. He's a good player. He works his butt off every shift. I remember tweeting I called him an everydayer because he is. Riley McCourt, great player. We've had Luke Evangelista on, a London Knight, a recent draft pick up by the Nashville Predators.
Connor McMichael.
Yeah, Connor McMichael, another one, Team Canada gold medalist. That was a fun interview. He's a good guy. Got a lot out of that. If you want to go back, you can listen to it. We're on SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play, all your podcast formats.
Perfect. So, with that being said, Colin, anything else going on with some of the signings here? Anything that we can look at?
We were checking it. Okay, so we got one.
Okay, we got a signing. Is it good enough to play the theme?
Oh, it is. You'll like it.
Okay, all right, let's hit it.
So, Henrik Lundqvist is on the move. You will see him in the division rival, the Washington Capitals. So, Lundqvist to Washington for 1 year.
It's official. King Henrik taking his talents to Washington. Great move for the Washington Capitals. I think that basically means that Braden Holtby is going to be signing elsewhere. But Henrik Lundqvist, obviously the longtime New York Ranger, it wasn't going to be his job anymore. They've obviously got Georgiev and Igor going on down there with New York and kind of moving in a different direction. But Henrik Lundqvist, obviously, being one of the all-time greats for the New York Rangers. I know Rob in the chat, one of his heroes growing up, and somebody who is going to be sorely missed, and somebody obviously who has had a lasting impact on not only the New York Rangers but in all of hockey. So would really love to see Henrik Lundqvist finally win a Stanley Cup, and he's got a great opportunity going to Washington, having that chance now.
Yeah, for sure. It's a great move. I really like that for Washington. I really want to see Lundqvist get a cup. And I know it's probably hard for Ranger fans to see him go to Washington, but, it's a great move. It's a great move, and, I feel like Ranger fans would love to see him win a cup at the end of the day. If they can't win one, I'm sure they'd love to see Lundqvist win one.
Absolutely. And insider in the chat, Tyler Jones, shout out to him. He said tourist to Vancouver or Edmonton, apparently. So we'll have to wait and see if that comes to fruition or not. But yeah, Henrik Lundqvist is there any terms on the contract?
I know it's just 1 year. We don't know anything. I don't know it much yet.
Okay, so again, Henrik Lundqvist, just talking about the New York Rangers here, Colin, what do you think that their next direction is? Obviously, they bring in a guy like Alexis Lafreniere in the draft, first overall. They look like they're accelerating that rebuild very well.
Yeah, well, they got a lot of luck there too, right, with winning the draft lottery, going up that far. Luck definitely helps, but they had a very good draft. Them, the Ottawa Senators, the New Jersey Devils had great drafts. I think that they're now 1 to 2 years away. They got Panarin there. I think one more draft really puts them over the hump with a good pick. But the Rangers are going to compete at least from the 7th, 8th spot in the playoffs. Hopefully they're in the top 10 in the Eastern Conference. I wouldn't expect them to be out of there. So top 10 in the East. We'll see, 7 to 8. It's kind of a learning year. They got Panarin. They got guys that can put them over that hump to compete for a playoff spot. But once Lafreniere, their goaltenders, once they get it set and they know they can play in the NHL, they'll be competitive.
Absolutely. So with that being said, guys, again, if you're listening to this live on Spreaker right now, if you want to check us out, armchairgmsports.com, all of our podcasts, all of our articles, all of our contributors, everything's on there for you guys. We cover a lot of different things. Obviously, I got to know Colin well covering the Ice Dogs this year, so we have an Ice Dog show. We do the Niagara Hockey Lowdown, which is broken off into two separate parts with the Toronto Maple Leafs and the Buffalo Sabres. We also do a general hockey show like this one where we just talk about free agency and other things going on. We also talk about NCAA football that I have with my co-host Trey Patterson, who is a contributor for Fox Sports Knoxville, covering the Tennessee Vols down there in Tennessee. So he helps me out on the NCAA football show every week. We also have the NFL Straight to the Extra Point show, where my friend Miklos McMaster helps me out with that, a former OUA athlete and big-time NFL fan. He helps me out with that show. And then we just have a couple other general shows on the network, but we've got a lot going on. We've got a lot of things coming to the network. Please stay tuned, and hopefully more shows and more YouTube stuff coming your way as well. A lot of big stuff happening with the Armchair GMs, and hopefully have you on this journey with us as we continue to grow here in the Niagara region. And with that said, Colin, let's take a look at Twitter and see what's been going on. And I don't really see anything major going on at the moment. Don't really know. It looks like the AAV for Carter Verhaeghe is going to be 1 year or $1 million on the 2-year deal. So it looks like 1 year, $1 million, 2-year deal for Carter Verhaeghe, the former Niagara Ice Dog and Stanley Cup champion with the Tampa Bay Lightning, going to the Florida Panthers, which, again, I like that signing. Don't really understand the Radko Gudas signing earlier, though, Colin. I don't really know what the deal was with that.
Yeah, I don't know. You think that takes an Torrey Krug?
I don't know. If Krug's making that much more, I just don't see.
Him. They will overpay Torrey Krug definitely now.
I don't want. If I'm a team, I don't want to pay Torrey Krug $9 million. I'm sorry. I just don't think he's worth $9 million, especially with the cap going to be probably at a flat cap for the next couple of years, and teams having internal caps. Signing a guy like Torrey Krug, even with a team like the Red Wings who have a ton of cap space, I don't really know if you need to just go and fork it out all out, half of it for Torrey Krug.
Steve Yzerman's not going to do that either. Steve Yzerman's been around the league now. He's been a player. He knows what guys should deserve. He's been around as a GM now. He knows what to do. I don't think Detroit would do that. I don't think over 8. I don't think over 8. 8 would be crazy too.
But again, it's just like, is that going to be a contract in 3 or 4 years where you're going to say, okay, how are we going to be able to move this thing? And then they're going to have to trade away a top prospect and a couple of draft picks just to get that contract off your books, or end up having to buy a guy out. I just don't like those kinds of contracts. But again, that's what happens on, I guess we can call it July 1st and the start of Free Agent Frenzy, but it's obviously different year this year, so it's starting October 9th. But the first day of free agency, we always see, like I read off that tweet earlier about all those bad contracts that get handed out. It's just the nature of it. A lot of teams they're desperate to bring in certain things, or there's pressures to go and make signings, and sometimes you make some mistakes, and that's what happens to some of these guys. We got the terms on the Lundqvist deal. It's $1.5 million for Henrik Lundqvist.
Yeah, 1.5. That's not bad. Great deal. I mean, it's weird. A lot of teams have made great signings so far that I've noticed. I mean, that's a great signing for Washington. Toronto made a great signing. Detroit made 2 good signings. It's funny. Those teams aren't spending money, and then you see Florida, who just gives that much to Radko Gudas, is kind of a head-scratcher. I know last year I was able to talk to a couple scouts from the Florida Panthers. I mean, Bobrovsky wasn't a good signing. I mean, it's just a lot of money. Bobrovsky's a great goaltender, but I mean, they got caught up in that last year, spending all that money. And now this year, it looks like they're doing it again. So maybe teams don't learn from cap space, but it's a head-scratcher for me, I think, for that much money for Radko Gudas. Yeah,
again, maybe he might be a little bit better analytically wise than he might show us on the ice, but I don't know. 3 years for Radko Gudas, I'm just not a fan of the 3-year thing. But we got... go ahead.
For him, he's not a big analytics guy either.
Yeah, I mean, you know what you're going to get, you know what you're not going to get at a Radko Gudas. Hopefully he can stay on the ice and not get suspended, because that seems like what's been happening the last couple of years in his career, just continuing to get suspended for bad hits or being in bad spots at the worst times. So hopefully you can get that figured out. But we got some rumors here. Again, take this with a grain of salt. Of Kevin Allen looking at Talbot or Greiss for the Red Wings.
Yeah, I was thinking Thomas Greiss. Yeah, so then a 1A, 1B with Bernier and Greiss or Talbot. That's not bad. Yeah. I mean, it's certainly not great, but I mean, I just think the pricing is way too high for a guy like Markstrom. And I don't think Markstrom really has legit interest in going to Detroit because, one, he's not too old, but I mean, he's at that age where he'd love to go to a contender if he's going to leave Vancouver. So it's a tough move on probably for the Red Wings because Markstrom would have been great for them. But yeah, Talbot and Greiss are great fallback plan for sure.
I mean, and we talked about the goalie market this year. There just seems to be way too many goalies available to want to be able to fork out a lot of money to some of these guys. It's a bad year to be a free agent goaltender, I think.
And it's still an upgrade for Detroit. It's still an upgrade with Greiss or Talbot just because what did Jimmy Howard do last year? I mean,
he was great.
He didn't win he didn't win a game since October 27th. I mean, is that really? It's not. You're not missing him. I mean, it's a great upgrade. I mean, I'm sure at least you'll get one win from him between. Well, I mean that won't happen this year, but I'm sure you'd get a span where at least you'd get a win. You wouldn't go that long without losing a game with Greiss or Talbot. I would hope.
This was actually a hilarious thing that I just wanted to bring up because I saw it come across Twitter and I had forgotten to bring it up earlier in the show. When Pierre LeBrun had spoken with Joe Thornton this morning over the phone, he's in Switzerland. He said, well, he does absolutely plan to play next season. He's in no hurry to make a decision. He also may play some Swiss League hockey for a bit. So.
Got news.
Is it a signing?
Not finalized yet.
Okay.
But Pierre LeBrun, the rumors, Buffalo Sabres. So Evan Rodriguez is headed back to Pittsburgh.
Okay, I thought you were about to say he's headed back to Buffalo, in which case I probably would have just ended the show because I'd be too upset to even talk about it.
See, that's why I wanted to do that. I wanted to catch you off guard.
Oh, man. You had my heart going there for like a half of a second. That was just...
That's why I dropped that.
Erod going back to Pittsburgh. Have fun with that. Guy's got all the speed in the world, couldn't hit the wide side of a barn. So, Pittsburgh, good luck with that. I don't really know what Jim Rutherford's doing there anyway, so good luck.
Speaking of the devil, we got a signing. No term yet, though, but there is a signing.
Is it worthy? Like, if it's Radko Gudas, like, don't ask me to...
You just mentioned it. You're good.
Okay. What is it?
You should want to play your thing.
Oh, okay, I'll play it.
Cam Talbot is going to the Minnesota Wild.
Okay, Cam Talbot. Do you have terms on it?
Goalie. There's no terms yet. It just says he is going to Minnesota. There's nothing I imagine 1 to 2 year deal for Talbot. But it's not official yet. I'm just saying I imagine what it would be.
Okay, so the interesting thing about the Evan Rodriguez is that he was traded to the Leafs in the Kasperi Kapanen trade, and I guess they just didn't decide to qualify him or anything, so then he just goes and signs back with the Pittsburgh Penguins, so that's kind of just interesting about what the point of that was, but also hearing from Tom Gazala, says that hearing the Oilers and Kyle Turris camp have had some discussions, would be a good third-line center option for the club. I agree. I think Kyle Turris still could be a valuable third-line center for some team. Just wasn't worth what he was getting paid in Nashville anymore, and I understand why they had to move on from his contract.
Yep, he's still got some game. That's a good one.
Especially for a team like Edmonton. I mean, that would probably be... I don't know. I think it's a great signing for Edmonton if he comes back as a third-line center. Again, like just on a short-term deal, a little bit less money. Obviously, what he was getting paid in Nashville just was not what he was worth at this point anymore. So Nashville doing a great thing there, being able to move on from Turris' contract. But I really like him going to the Oilers as a possible third-line option. I like that for a lot for the Edmonton Oilers if they're able to get it done. But
3-year deal, it looks like. Pierre LeBrun just tweeted 3-year deal
for Cam Talbot,
and it looks like $4 million, $4 million, $3 million.
Okay, and we got another breaking news, the one I was just talking about. So let's play it again. Thank you, Tyler Jones, for letting me know. Kyle Turris, 2-year deal with the Edmonton Oilers is official. 1.65 for Kyle Turris. That is a great deal for the Edmonton Oilers and for Kyle Turris, trying to revitalize his career a little bit. Obviously, with that large cap hit came a lot of responsibility, which he was not able to live up to. Now he goes to Edmonton with a nice 2-year deal, 1.65. I think that's best for both worlds there.
Hey, that's an upgrade from Riley Sheahan.
Another guy you know well in Detroit. But we got the breakdown for the Cam Talbot deal as well. It's so the 3-year deal, it goes $4 and $3 million respectively. So first 2 years $4 million, third year $3 million for Cam Talbot in Minnesota. So they move on from Devin Dubnyk and they bring in Cam Talbot. So what do you think of that swap of goaltenders there, Colin?
Interesting.
Interesting.
Yeah. I don't really know yet what to think of that, just because I think the 3 years is a bit. I just think about Hunter Jones coming up, right? He'll be in Iowa. We'll see.
Yeah.
I mean, he won't come up and be their number one. It'll help Minnesota, though, for sure.
Another minor signing for Alan Quine from Edmonton. 1 year, $750,000. So again, just filling out the roster, I guess you could say. But that's going to happen on this day. I mean, a lot of guys that are not coveted are just going to sign with whoever offers them contracts. So Alan Quine signs 1 year with the Edmonton Oilers. But I really like that Kyle Turris signing for Edmonton. I think that's a very, very nice signing for them and gives them some help possibly on the third line, or he could possibly even move up to the second line if needed. It probably wouldn't be ideal for him to be in a second line spot, in a full-time capacity, but if needed, if an injury happens, he can go up there and, at least give you a guy who can not look out of place on the second line. But I think at this point in his career, he's definitely more of a third-line center and probably be more natural for him.
Yeah, for sure. But looking at the list here, I'm wondering if the Toronto Maple Leafs go after a Mark Jankowski.
Mark Jankowski.
I just got a gut feeling.
Another insider, again, take this with a grain of salt. Sounds like Blackhawks Corey Crawford in Colorado might be an option as well, since he was bought out by the Chicago Blackhawks. So that one, there's nothing. Again, it's just a spitball at this point, but Corey Crawford possibly is an option for the Colorado Avalanche. We'll have to see.
Yeah, for sure.
Do you like? Would you like Corey Crawford going to Colorado?
Yeah, it's a backup.
As a backup.
I mean, I don't know. I think Colorado Crawford's a good goaltender, but I don't know if he's got it in him still to take you to the Stanley Cup final. I mean, they want to contend for a Stanley Cup, right, Colorado? So who knows? Mm-hmm. I'm getting surprised, though, just because I feel that the Krug and Pietrangelo signing's a big deal a ways away.
Yeah, those signings might take a few days to process. Obviously, if Taylor Hall is going to be meeting with other teams, if it's rumored that he's meeting with 10 teams, I don't think he's going to sign in a day meeting with 10 teams. I think he's going to obviously have some time to reflect and think that over. I don't think he's going to make a decision if he's got to meet with 10 teams and just come up with the best available in one day. I don't really think that that's really possible or even fair on his part. So if he is actually going to meet with the 10 teams, I think that it's going to take some time for a guy like Taylor Hall to sign, and even Alex Pietrangelo as well. We know that the St. Louis Blues have the offer on the table at 8 years, $8 million. So if he decides to fall back on that, we'll see. But again, if the free agent market isn't there for him as he would thought.
Yeah, that's a lot like Buffalo with Cahoon.
Yeah, I don't really understand not tendering Dominic Cahoon, but again, I'll get into that with Austin when we talk about it on the Niagara Hockey Lowdown Sabres edition. But I want to give another plug here to one of our sponsors here, the Spicy Olive Bar and Grill. Again, starting October 24th, they're bringing back their Center Street Shuffle. Don't miss out. They've got Avenue Inn kicking things off at 10 p.m. on that Thursday, October 24th. Check out their promotional Thanksgiving menu as well. They're doing a Thanksgiving dinner, $25 plus tax. They got butternut squash, combination of white and dark turkey, stuffing, mashed potatoes, gravy, seasoned carrots, corn, and cranberry sauce, served with a pumpkin pie. Again, for only $25 plus tax per serving. So if you're having any last-minute if you need any last-minute ideas for the Canadian Thanksgiving coming up this weekend, again, you can call at 905-371-2323, or you can pick up between October 10th and October 12th between 1 and 4 p.m. And again, they have an armchair discount with us. So again, if you use the code ArmchairVeal, you can get 10% off your takeout order or when you dine in to eat. So again, courtesy of the Armchair GMs, you can get 10% off and you get yourself a nice Thanksgiving dinner if you don't have anything else in line. So again, the Spicy Olive Bar and Grill, check them out at spicyolivebarandgrill.com or call 905-371-2323. Their Thanksgiving dinner got you set up for the Canadian Thanksgiving long weekend here. So with that being said, Colin, anything else going on the Twitterverse as far as rumors for anything right now? Because it looks pretty dry at this point.
Pretty quiet right now. It comes and goes, right? It comes and goes.
Nathan Beaulieu re-signing with Winnipeg, according to Renaud Lavoie, which was retweeted by Elliot Friedman. So Nathan Beaulieu will be staying with the Winnipeg Jets for at least one more season. We don't know the terms if it's a multi-year deal, but for now, he is staying with the Winnipeg Jets. Some guys on the radar as far as a free agent list. We got Matt Nieto, Jesper Fast, Tyler Toffoli, Evgeny Dadonov, Mike Hoffman, Eric Haula. A couple of those guys intrigue you, Colin.
I mean, I like Haula. I like his game. I think those guys are guys that signed today. But I think you just got to get through these league minimum guys first to get to the big fish. Because, I mean, a lot of teams got cap space. And I feel like a lot of those guys are going to have to push down, too, though, to take a discount because of the cap. Mm-hmm. So it'll be interesting. But Haula's a good player. I like Haula.
Okay. A lot of 2-year deals, according to Elliot Friedman. So,
yeah.
I guess we're going to see that today. I don't know. Again, it's a different world right now because we don't know what's going to happen with next season and, when it's actually going to start, if there's going to be internal caps for these teams as far as, not even spending to the actual salary cap that the NHL permits. I mean, our team's they don't want to lose money off of the revenue that's going to be missed by not having full capacity fans in the stands. So obviously those things are going to affect business decisions, and that might affect contracts as well. And if it's actually going to be a hard cap for the next couple of years, I don't think these teams are going to be wanting to fork out these, unless you're the Montreal Canadiens, forking out large amounts of money for players on long-term deals. It seems like we're going to get a lot of short-term deals, and unless your name is like Alex Pietrangelo or Torrey Krug, you're going to get that contract. But as far as, probably from 10 and on down to a lot of these guys, it's going to be short-term deals at, low cap hits because just the uncertainty and the unknown of what's going to happen in the next year.
Yeah, you got your first where it started and how it's going tweet, eh?
Sorry?
With Kyle dropping a bomb for you?
Oh, let's take a look here. What do you
got
mean?
Your tweet. You got it. You called it.
What?
The first one that you just said you were going to see it, how it started, how it's going tweet.
Oh, yeah, here we go. Perfect. Thanks for that. Yep, knew that was coming. The Wayne Sim. Yep, thanks, Kyle. Well, too bad for you. The Beaulieu extension in Winnipeg is 2 years, $1.25 per year for Nathan Beaulieu. So, again, another minor signing. And again, 1 year or 2 years, 1.25 per for Nathan Beaulieu. Just a nice, solid bottom pair option for the Winnipeg Jets, a team that is desperate for D help. So they bring back, a decent option here in Nathan Beaulieu.
Yep, for sure.
And according to my friend Tyler Jones, just an educated guess, I could see the Nashville Predators going after Kevin Shattenkirk. Also says that no one wants to sign Holtby till after Markstrom signs. We're waiting for the goalie dominoes to fall. So again, like we'd keep mentioning on the show, it's just the goaltending market is just flooded right now. So we're really waiting for the first couple to sign before everybody else decides to see what they're going to pay these goaltenders, because I just don't think these goalies are going to get as much money as they might have expected just for the fact that there are so many of them available.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, I don't think you can sign till the big guy's off the board because you want the max dollar that you can get. I mean, you see Cam Talbot sign with Minnesota, right? So that's interesting because now what do you get, right? Oh, and never mind. There's a thing right here. I can confirm Jacob Markstrom will not sign in Vancouver.
Okay, so Jacob Markstrom. I mean, I don't even think we needed to even say that. I don't think that there was any chance of him going back. I don't think they were ever going to pay him the money that he was going to want.
After Demko's game.
Absolutely. Like the way that Thatcher Demko played, they're not going to fork out a long-term contract for Jacob Markstrom with a high cap hit when they already have their goalie of the future ready to go. We saw what he did in the playoffs this year for Vancouver, so I think they make a right decision on moving on from him when they have Thatcher Demko waiting in the wings. But if we got nothing else going on, Colin, I think we're going to take a quick commercial break here if you got nothing else.
Nope, that's all for now.
Okay, guys, we're going to take a quick commercial break, and we're going to reset and come back and hopefully have some more signings to talk about. We got about just over an hour left in the show today, so hopefully we can break some more stuff for you. Again, stay right here on the Under Review podcast and our NHL Free Agent Frenzy special right here on the Armchair GM Sports Network. J&L Flooring is a Niagara-based specialty flooring and design company. They take great pride in providing elite customer service and support. They are a specialty flooring and decor boutique shop with a beautiful showroom, great pricing, and a wide variety and truly unique selection of products. All their products are environmentally friendly and responsibly produced, so you can feel great about your flooring choices. Their goal as a local business is to build authentic relationships based on honesty and integrity that they foster with respect and authenticity, offering a unique and wide range of quality products presented by a knowledgeable and patient team. They connect with their customers to simplify the process to make their life easier and to make their homes beautiful. Visit them at 4424 Montrose Road, Niagara Falls, or find out more at jnlflooring.com. Open Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. through 5 p.m., and Saturday, 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. 905-358-3299 J&L Flooring. The Spicy Olive Bar and Grill is located on the top of Clifton Hill and just a 5-minute walk from the majestic Niagara Falls. It is conveniently nestled in the heart of the tourist district. A family-owned and operated business, the Spicy Olive opened its doors in May of 2003 and has since been established as an authentic and unique Italian restaurant and bar. Its rustic ambiance and time-worn finishing provide a warm and inviting dining experience. Offering an array of delicious dishes, they specialize in authentic Italian cuisine, homemade sauces, fresh ingredients, and consistently providing a strong foundation on which they build their menu. As night falls, the Spicy Olive shifts to a lively lounge where drinks and live music come together to make a perfect evening. For more than 15 years, they have provided not only for their dedicated locals, but their customers from all over the world with authentic Italian food and great live entertainment. Open daily 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. for dinner and till 2 a.m. for drinks. Check out their new menu and book reservations on their website at Spicy Olive Bar and Grill, it's with an E at the end, .com, or call 905-371-2323 for reservations as well. The Spicy Olive Bar and Grill.
You're listening to the Armchair GM Sports Network, the Niagara region's best local source for North American sports podcasting coverage. By sports fans, for sports fans.
Welcome back, guys, to our Free Agent Frenzy episode on the Under Review podcast as a part of the Armchair GM Sports Network. Brandon Caputo and Colin Ward from the 0-60 podcast as a guest co-host for us today on the show. Breaking, not a lot of signings so far, Colin. Just got a lot of small stuff, really. A couple decent signings. So let's kind of just recap what we've got so far. For the show today, we got Victor Mete re-signs with the Montreal Canadiens. Wayne Simmons signs a very nice contract with the Toronto Maple Leafs, going home to play in Toronto. Luke Schenn and Pat Maroon both re-sign with the Tampa Bay Lightning. Bobby Ryan goes to the Detroit Red Wings on a very nice one-year deal. Radko Gudas, biggest signing of the day, 3 years at $2.5 per year. Tyler Mott stays with Vancouver. John Merrill signs a small one-year deal with the Detroit Red Wings. Carter Verhaeghe going from one Florida team to another, signing with the Florida Panthers. 2 years, $1 million per, so a 2-year deal for $2 million total. Malcolm Subban staying with the Chicago Blackhawks on a 2-year deal. Dominic Kubalik, the very nice rookie for them last year, who broke out for them. He is re-signing for a 2-year deal worth $3.7, so a very nice re-sign for Dominic Kubalik and the Chicago Blackhawks. Henrik Lundqvist, the longtime New York Ranger legend, going to Washington on a 1-year deal for $1.5 million. Colin, do you have something?
Well, there's a little bit of a rumor here.
Okay.
Possible Holtby to Vancouver situation, which would be something.
Okay.
It's not official, it's just a rumor.
Okay, continuing on, Cam Talbot signing a 3-year deal with the Minnesota Wild at $3.6 per year, so a big 3-year deal for Cam Talbot and the Wild. Nathan Beaulieu re-signs with Winnipeg, trying to shore up that defense core. 2-year deal worth $1.25. Kyle Turris signs with Edmonton, a very nice deal, I think, for both sides. $1.65, the former Nashville Predator. 2 years is going to the Edmonton Oilers, and a very minor signing, Alan Quine from Edmonton, 1 year, $750,000. Colin, what are you looking at here as far as a rumor?
And there it is, Braden. You can play the.
Okay.
So it sounds like Braden Holtby to the Vancouver Canucks.
Wow, that would be huge.
2 years, $8.6 million. So $4.3 a year.
4.3 a year for Braden Holtby to Vancouver. So they don't want to pay Jacob Markstrom, but I guess thank you, Tyler Jones, for giving me the info just as Colin read it on the air. Again, 4.3 for Braden Holtby. Very nice for the Vancouver Canucks. And again, it's only a 2-year deal. They don't have to fork up a lot of money to Jacob Markstrom for a long-term contract. So I like that signing, and definitely somebody that Thatcher Demko can learn from Braden Holtby, a Stanley Cup winning goaltender. I love that move a lot.
Yeah, I really do.
We might have another signing as Braden Holtby signs. This might be the domino effect for the goaltenders.
Yeah, the goalie.
Yep. We might have something with Jacob Markstrom to Calgary, but we don't know if that's official yet.
Darren Dreger just tweeted out, hearing the Oilers at this point are out on the star goalie. So they're out on Markstrom.
Okay. So no Jacob Markstrom to the Oilers, but he might be going to another Alberta team in Calgary, so we'll have to wait and see if
I'm Jacob Markstrom. If I am Jacob Markstrom right now, I wait still. I wait until there's an extra team involved, because now, like you said, you got the domino effect of the goaltenders going down. So I think you wait a little bit longer, hope, because you're going to get signed. You're going to get signed. So I think you wait a little bit longer, get a bidding more, and then you sign. I think that's the plan right now, because this is probably the last time in his career he's really going to get max dollar at free agency. So you might as well really test it out and get more than what you're valued for.
So we'll have to wait and see. I really like Holtby to Vancouver for a 2-year deal. Again, it's 4.3, but then it's only a 2-year deal, so it's not that big of a commitment. And if it doesn't work out with Vancouver, you never know. They could move on from him, and it wouldn't be that bad of a contract to move. It's not like it's a Marc-Andre Fleury contract where Vegas is having a very tough time moving it. It's 4.3 for a guy of Braden Holtby's caliber. If they decide to move him after 1 year, they still might be able to find a suitor for him and get a decent haul back if Thatcher Demko his development is quicker than expected, and he's ready to go after the first year of Holtby's contract's over. So I really like that move for both sides. Holtby gets a pretty decent contract, goes out west, and good for Vancouver as well. I think that's a bargain for Braden Holtby, especially only getting him on the 2-year deal. It's a very movable contract.
Nothing confirmed from Chris Johnston here, but it looks like increasingly likely that Jacob Markstrom is going to land in Calgary.
Okay, there it is.
Surprising. It's kind of surprising because I just thought he'd wait a little bit longer, but you might as well take your offer because it might be the best one you get, right?
Again, we're not going to play the intro breaking news yet because nothing is confirmed, but again, like Chris Johnson just said here on Twitter, Jacob Markstrom is going to land in Calgary. It's becoming more increasingly likely at this point. So Calgary looking like they're going to get Jacob Markstrom. So what do you think of Markstrom moving from one team to a division rival here from Vancouver to Calgary?
Yeah, I like that because Calgary desperately needs that number one goalie that's a guy. I mean, it feels like every year Calgary has a goaltender that's Mike Smith. All of a sudden, he's not going to be our guy. David Riddick, all of a sudden, he's not going to be our guy. So I think Markstrom gives you some stability there that you get a guy that's going to be your guy for at least a couple of years. That's a nice fallback effect for the Calgary Flames.
Mm-hmm. So we'll wait on the terms if that is true or not with Jacob Markstrom signing with the Calgary Flames. Nothing is official yet, but again, that all signs are pointing towards that from a few sources, so we'll have to wait and see with that. I want to give another shout-out to one of our sponsors. Custom PPE is the number one source for custom printed face masks in Canada. Check out their personalized logo face masks with adjustable ear loops and full-color printing. Several colors and styles to choose from, printed from Canada and delivered in within 1 week. Very low minimums, great pricing, and quickest turnaround. Again, built from right here in the Niagara region. Custom PPE is Canada's leading face mask provider, serving schools, teams, and businesses all over the country for their PPE needs. Call 1-855-55-CUSTOM or visit them online at customppe.ca for instant pricing and to build your face masks today. Use the code ARMCHAIR at checkout for 20% off your entire order. So again, if you are thinking of getting face masks for your business or whatever, what have you, go to customppe.ca and you get 20% off, courtesy of the Armchair GMs, by using the code ARMCHAIR at checkout. 20% off. Who doesn't like that? So again, with the new world that we're adjusting to, you're going to need your PPE. So again, Armchair at checkout, customppe.ca, 20% off, courtesy of the Armchair GMs. Colin, anything else to bring up here at the moment?
Do you think Markstrom's contract demand go down with him leaving Vancouver? Like, I mean, they replaced him pretty quick. I mean, not even 5 minutes, you get Holtby to Vancouver. Markstrom are not re-signing, and then Holtby to Vancouver. That happened pretty fast. So are the demands going to go down now? Because Braden Holtby, I think, is still going to be a good goaltender for them.
I mean, I just don't think that the goalies are going to get what they want. I mean, now that Holtby and Markstrom have gone, I think now we're going to start to see the goaltenders kind of flood in here, and we'll start to see them signing. But I think that was kind of the benchmark. It was going to be where were Holtby and Markstrom going to sign, and how much were they going to sign for? I think even Henrik Lundqvist signing the 1 year, $1.5 million deal kind of changed things for the goalies as well. So it just didn't seem like it was a great year to be a free agent goaltender this year, and it's kind of proven that with we don't know the terms of the Markstrom contract yet, but it doesn't seem like it's the type of money upwards of the $8 million that people had been swirling around for some of these goaltenders early on in free agency. So
for sure,
we'll have to wait and see with that. But I'm just looking at trying to look at some rumors here. The Devils are looking for some scoring for Jack Hughes. Well, duh. I mean, the Devils need a lot of things right now, but scoring would definitely.
Buffalo Sabres need goal scoring for Jack Eichel.
Yeah, well, they thought they had it in re-signing Jeff Skinner, and then, Coach Ralph Kruger decided not to play Jeff Skinner with Jack Eichel for 95% of the year.
That's always ironic there. I don't get that.
Yeah, so there it is. A lot of news and news sources breaking the Braden Holtby is official, 8.6 for 2 years to the Vancouver Canucks. Like that signing a lot, as we discussed, but I don't know. I don't know what we're gonna. I don't know if we're gonna. We saw the goalies go here now, but I don't know if we're gonna see, like you mentioned, the Taylor Halls, the Alex Petrangelos, the Torrey Krug. I think we might be waiting a few days for those, just for the fact that they've got a lot of teams to look at and a lot of things to think about.
Yep, for sure.
Other than that, guys, we're going to take another commercial break on the show today, and we're going to come back with possibly a guest on to talk about something, so a third guest coming on here. So we'll be right back as we try to connect him on here, and we'll be right back on the Free Agent Frenzy show and on the Under Review podcast as a part of the Armchair GM Sports Network. Carmine's Pizzeria Italiano, serving traditional-style Italian pizzas made with the freshest, top-quality ingredients. Loaded subs and their famous chicken wings. Winners of the Reader's Choice Diamond Award, 4 years running from Niagara this week for Best Pizza and Wings in Niagara Falls. Home of the best tray and wing combo in town for the price and quality. Open daily from 3 p.m. to 9 p.m., located on the corner of Drummond Road and Dunn Street. Available for call-ahead pickup or delivery at 905-374-4400. Make sure to like them on Facebook and view their website for their menu at carmine'spizzeria.ca. Carmine's Pizzeria Italiano. Way too good. As we all adjust to this new world that we're living in today, masks are now mandatory, and Niagara's own Custom PPE is Canada's leading face mask provider. Visit them online at customppe.ca and choose between several mask options with different colors and sizes. Add your organization, company, or team logo so you make your face masks unique. Available to purchase online 24/7 at customppe.ca and shipped within 1 week. They have the best prices and quickest turnaround in Canada, and no order is too big or too small. Also offering custom floor stickers as well as face and counter shields for your business or workplace. Visit customppe.ca and use the code ARMCHAIR at checkout for 20% off your custom or blank face mask today. Custom PPE, Canada's leading face mask provider. Attention job seekers, if you are currently looking for work in the Niagara region, you owe it to yourself to check out the services provided by the Niagara Employment Help Center, located at 6100 Thoroldstone Road, Niagara Falls, directly across from the Camisos Plaza. Their free services include resume and cover letter writing, community resource and referral information, local labor market information, job search strategies, assistance with clarifying employment training and career goals, employment counseling and job search support, second career information and registration assistance, and all their services are currently provided by appointment only. So give them a call at 905-358-0021 or visit their website at ehc.on.ca, the Niagara Employment Help Center. This Employment Ontario program is funded by the Government of Ontario.
You're listening to the Armchair GM Sports Network, the Niagara region's best local source for North American sports podcasting coverage. By sports fans, for sports fans.
Alright guys, welcome back to our NHL Free Agent Frenzy special episode of the Under Review podcast right here on the Armchair GM Sports Network. Brandon Caputo here with guest co-host Colin Ward from the 0-60 podcast. And speaking of the 0-60 podcast, we are now joined on the line by a third guest for today. He is Reese Dumani. He is another co-host of the 0-60 podcast, as well as a Sports Center anchor and board operator at TSN 1150. Reese, thanks a lot for coming on and joining the show today.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys. I feel jealous. You get 3 hours to do this. I'm doing this for a few minutes. Man, long day for you guys.
Absolutely, and we also did 3 hours with Kyle and myself for round one of the NHL Draft, so I'm going to be pretty much done with talking about hockey after this week. It's been a long week, but again, this is what we do, right? This is a busy season for the NHL, and this is what you do. You got to talk about hockey during this time. This is basically like we didn't get in June with the draft and free agency, so we got to talk about it now.
Well, when the Yankees are done, you're going to have to talk about hockey.
Well, I don't want to talk about football anyway, so I'm actually glad that hockey is here to talk about. But that being said, Reese, go ahead and let the listeners know where they can find you and information on what you guys do.
Yeah, so my personal Twitter is just my name, at Reese Dumani. It's R-E-E-C-E. A lot of people go S-E or R-H-Y-S, but that's me on Twitter and Instagram. And of course, the 0-60 podcast. It's at the 0-60 podcast, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. All of those accounts have a link to our website, and check everything out.
You guys have had some very special guests and some notable NHL draftees selected. So go ahead and talk about some of the interviews that you guys have been able to do on the show.
Yeah, one of the big ones was when we first, I guess, started the off-season, the long off-season. We had Hunter Jones on from the Minnesota Wild, and of course Peterborough Pete's in the OHL. But even though that was our first one to date, I still look back at that one and say that was a really good chat, and I really enjoyed that one the most because just the connections we have and Colin has with the Delhi area, and I'm in Brantford, and Jones is a Brantford guy. That conversation was just really awesome to hear Hunter Jones's process through the draft, and even he shared with us how the process of the OHL teams finding out about COVID and the season being canceled because of COVID, or postponed at the time, I should say, about him going into a meeting, and that kind of being the moment where he knew that, I think I'm done here in Peterborough if this thing doesn't pick up again. So that was really good. Most recently, we had Connor McMichael, first rounder of the Washington Capitals, who will be pushing for a roster spot January 1st, I guess, when the OHL comes back. And we've also had Phil Tomasino, who will be, in my opinion, on Nashville's roster next season as a third or fourth liner to start. And throughout the summer, it's not much to talk about, especially with COVID. So we thought, hey, let's fill it with guests. And we were lucky enough that teams got back to us, and we were able to get the caliber guys on our show.
Absolutely, and we got to kind of connect with you guys this year covering the Niagara Ice Dogs of the OHL. And again, there's a lot of uncertainty with what's going on with the Canadian Hockey League. Obviously, the QMJHL started their season up and obviously had a team that had 18 positive cases already, so it didn't look like that was a successful restart for the Q. What are you thinking, just off the top of your head here, with the OHL season that's projected to start in December? Do you think that there's a possibility that it's going to start in December, or do you think that, with the restrictions that have been put on by the Ontario government, that the OHL might be at risk of not just having a season in general?
Oh, you can't start the season with no hitting. You can't do that. That's dumb. That's not hockey. That's a great way for there not to be a 2021 NHL draft, because how can you take guys that play in a league where you can't be aggressive and be physical and, share your character a little bit other than just goal scoring and making plays and, all the little things. And I think hitting's a big part of the game. It's very underrated at this point in time because it's all about who can shoot, who can skate, who can make plays. You still need bodies to, fight and hit. And by the way, Toronto Maple Leafs kind of got that with Wayne Simmons today on that deal with him. But it's tough. What Lisa McLeod said, it doesn't sound like the OHL really has a chance to start on December 1st. Positive news for the WHL, though. I saw that minor hockey will be ramped up fully in Saskatchewan. So that's good in terms of their teams, and that league starting up for December 4th, I think, is their target date. But for the OHL to have to go through the process of moving 3 American teams into Ontario, because why would you want to play 2 other teams the whole year? That makes no sense. That would be absolutely ridiculous to try and do. So trying to find homes for Erie and Saginaw and Flint, it won't be easy. And we put up a Twitter poll on our Twitter account for the show, and just to see where everyone's heads were at. And Brantford got the most votes. I know that. Leamington fell short. That's Flint's Junior B affiliate. What else do we have up there? I think we had Strathroy or
Chatham.
Yeah.
Strathroy, I think.
Yep, Chatham got a vote. I got someone that commented on it, tweeted back at us saying Brampton, because they had the battalion and they've got the beast right now, but are they going to allow 2 teams to play in one building? Probably not. So December 1st, that'll be a challenge to get to.
Yeah, it's definitely not looking great right now, especially if no face-offs was another thing that I had heard to be rumored was, no face-offs. I don't really know how that would work either, but got a few minor signings here as we continue our conversation with Colin Ward and Reese Dumani of the 0-60 podcast. We have Anton Forsberg signing a 1-year deal, the goaltender with the Edmonton Oilers, and Colin Blackwell signs a 1-year deal with the New York Rangers, a 2-year deal worth $750,000. So Colin Blackwell to the Rangers and Anton Forsberg to the Edmonton Oilers. Colin, do you have something?
Yeah, Buddy Robinson signs with Calgary too.
Okay, so a couple of minor signings there, but
going on though right now too. Carolina has now talked to Jacob Markstrom's camp, so Carolina's involved, and also
wow, big one here. We got to break one. There it is. Thank you, Tyler Jones. Edmonton Oilers have signed Mike Hoffman to a 5-year deal worth $30 million, $6 million per. Mike Hoffman going to the Edmonton Oilers. You think that would be a perfect pairing? Connor McDavid finding his sniper, Mike Hoffman.
Well, Draisaitl too. I mean, wow. They got $5 million on the cap right now, so they'll be over the cap right now. Edmonton. That's Ken Holland not worrying about the cap space. That's all I got to say. He did that in Detroit forever, right? Edmonton doesn't have a 2nd or 3rd round pick in next year's draft. They got 1st, and then they're off to the 4th. I mean, you got to throw it all in here, but that's kind of surprising to pay him that much. But I mean, Ken Holland, that's what he does. So that'll be interesting to see with their cap. Wow.
5-year deal. Again, I like Mike Hoffman for at least a couple of years with Edmonton. Again, he's a sniper, but like you, the two Detroit fans are making fun of Ken Holland over there in Edmonton now. But I like it for Edmonton, obviously, at least for them going for it. I mean, Mike Hoffman is a sniper. You play him with a guy like Draisaitl or McDavid, that they finally could get some decent wingers to play with. I mean, how many wingers have we seen the Edmonton Oilers try to recycle through all these years? To try and,
Yeah. That's the Crosby issue, too, though. Remember Crosby had all those things. You can put Kunitz, you can put that's why Kunitz was on Team Canada the one year. You put Kunitz with him, you put Gensel with him, you put Sheary with him. Sheary goes to Buffalo and does absolutely nothing. So that'll be interesting to see. I like Hoffman, though, with McDavid. I mean, it'll probably work out better than Athanasiou did.
Yeah, again, this is not official, this Oilers and Hoffman thing, but... yeah, so a couple of guys are now coming back on this, saying that it might not be as official as everybody thinks it is. A couple of key guys retweeted it as well, and now they're backing away on it. So this
when you offer when you have $5 million on the cap and you offer a $6 million deal, you're just under $1 million over the cap.
Mm-hmm.
I know it's not much, but you kind of got to be smart here with the signings when you see guys getting paid not that much throughout the day, and all of a sudden you see $6 million a year.
Yeah.
Like, kind of a head scratcher.
You know what? Sometimes we get these things wrong. I mean, once in a while, some of these main insiders, I mean, sometimes the information they get might leak out wrong. I mean, that we've seen from Dan Rosen, David Pagnotta. These are guys that, they're not just guys trying to spitball stuff out there. So these mistakes do happen, and unfortunately for right now, this Mike Hoffman one is a mistake. But continuing on with our conversation with Reese Dumani, who has joined us on the line from the 0-60 podcast and TSN 1150. Reese, what have been your thoughts so far? A lot of minor signings for the most part, a couple of decent ones, obviously with the goaltenders coming in now. But what are your thoughts on just kind of a slow free agency as far as not forking out as much money as we might have thought because of teams having internal caps?
Yeah, it's all about the expansion draft coming up next year, right? Teams don't want to give up millions of dollars and length. Lots of years for guys that they might just be there for a year or two to kind of carry over until their prospects are ready. I think that might be the case with Carter Verhaeghe, former Niagara Ice Dog, by the way, signing with Florida. It's a 2-year deal worth $2 million. He's fully worth $2 million, in my opinion. He's a nice piece on the third line. He could possibly move up on the second line, depending on what the Panthers want to do and who leaves there, or the whole situation after free agency is over and we head into the new season. But he could be a very nice target for the Seattle Kraken. I think that would be a very underrated pickup for them in the expansion draft. And just some of the other 2-year deals, you're going down the list. Kyle Turris would be a nice leader in Seattle to get that team up and going. Nathan Beaulieu in Winnipeg signed a 2-year deal today. Kevin Rooney with the New York Rangers 2-year deal. So I think that's a lot of this has to do with that expansion draft. And of course, you've got the 1-year deals in here that, deadline move, we're going to flip them. And Bobby Ryan could easily be a trade deadline acquisition for some team, as he just signed a 1-year deal with Detroit. But it's all on the expansion draft. I don't think teams would they may like this if they want another Vegas situation where Seattle gets all these guys, from these teams and goes to the Stanley Cup final. Whether they like that or not, I don't know. But that's where the 2-year deals for me is. I saw a couple of tweets out there. One I think was from Darren Dreger saying that the 2 years are to do with expansion, especially because it is next year and the Seattle Kraken will be a team the 2021-2022 season.
Yeah. It's just, sorry, go ahead, Colin.
That's expected there too. Holtby will be exposed to Seattle in the expansion draft. So that's something. What do you think of the Ratko Gudas deal?
Yeah, that's interesting, eh?
Oh, yeah.
3 years, 7.5.
I was saying this. Why does the Florida Panthers last year overpay. And now they're going to do it again? I can't believe it. For Haggie's a good deal, but Gudas, there's a little bit too much.
I think $7.5 million is too much. I don't mind 3 years. That's not too bad of a lengthy contract, but 7.5. Know, I'd maybe be around 4.
Yeah, I just figure though with the amount of 2-year contracts going today, I just figured he'd get a 2 because of the age and the foot speed.
Yep.
It looks like Markstrom to Calgary is almost pretty much official. We're just waiting on the terms of that, so we're not going to play it yet until we find out. Unless we're going to get unless we're going to be swerved once again with the Mike Hoffman and Edmonton rumor.
That Mike Hoffman situation would be interesting if he does sign in Edmonton and it becomes official. I don't know if you put him with McDavid and Draisaitl. I think you spread it out and put him on the second line with Puljujarvi.
Yeah, you beat that up. Get depth.
Yeah, Hoffman's left winger. Puljujarvi is a right winger. You get someone in the center of them who can score and make plays. That's a pretty good second line.
Well, they'll try that. The Oilers will try that.
Well, yeah. I mean, my thing is, if Draisaitl is the Hart Trophy winner that he was this year, there's no reason why he shouldn't have to play without McDavid. So, I mean, why would you not let him try it on the second line with a guy like Mike Hoffman or Jesse Puljujarvi? Like you guys mentioned, try and spread it out a little bit. Maybe not try to be so top-heavy. Obviously, on the power play is a different story, but maybe have McDavid on line 1, Draisaitl on the line 2, and you kind of have a Malkin and Crosby 1A, 1B line. You kind of have two number 1 lines. So if that did happen with Mike Hoffman going to Edmonton, I think why not try Draisaitl on a different line than McDavid to kind of spread things out like you guys were mentioning.
Yeah, and that's Bobby Ryan signing right there in Detroit. He's not going to play a lot of top 6 minutes. He's a depth guy to play on the third line, I think, to add more offense.
Second power play line, maybe.
Yep.
Another tweet from David Pagnotta here. Apparently, there's increased chatter between Columbus and trade interests, including Joonas Korpisalo. So, something to keep tabs on, apparently.
Well, is that the Toronto Anderson rumor? Because that was rumored before Frederik Anderson and Korpisalo. Columbus, Toronto.
I mean, Toronto, they have cap problems at this point. They signed Simmons on a nice deal. But
Edmonton, if they sign a Hoffman to $6 million a year, it's not that bad. It could be worse.
I guess so, but I don't think Frederik Anderson was the problem with the Leafs. I just think they might have to end up moving on from him just for the fact that they're going to have some tough decisions to make with their cap space, and luckily they were able to get Wayne Simmons today on a very team-friendly contract of 1 year. I believe it was 1.25, so very nice signing there. But they have about $4 million left in cap space, and they really need to fix up their decor a bit, Reese, don't you think?
Oh, absolutely. And when I got the opportunity to co-host the morning show on TSN 1150 the other week, and huge congratulations to Marshall Ferguson, who had a baby boy. That gave me the opportunity to do that for 3 days. But I'd mentioned a guy like Andy Green would be nice in Detroit or Toronto because, again, he's a veteran. I'm not expecting him to sign anywhere for more than 2 years. Again, that'd be another 2-year deal, 1-year deal, whatever. And just to add the age and the experience, he was in the Eastern Conference Finals this year. I know the Leafs have a few guys who have been deep in the playoffs who have won a cup. Muzzin with the Kings. They had Clifford with the Kings who both won a cup there. So that adds something. But I thought that Andy Green would be a really nice fit in Toronto to shore up that decor. And my draft rankings were way off because I had Jake Sanderson dropping at 15 to Toronto. So I was way off by that. But, I think experience works in Toronto's favor in terms of age, and I think that would be a nice piece for them to add today.
As we're continuing on, there's progress being made by, according to Darren Dreger, Anton Khudobin and Dallas might be circling back around to each other after it was rumored that Khudobin would be leaving Dallas and hitting the open market. It seems like with what's going on with the goalies, he might be circling back around to Dallas, but we'll have to monitor that. But Reese, I definitely agree that the Leafs, what have we always talked about with the Leafs? It's been their grit and their decor. I mean, they brought in Kyle Clifford, and that experience didn't work out too great. They're bringing in Wayne Simmons, which I really think is a nice add, a guy that can obviously play a physical game. He's not going to score 30 to 35 goals anymore, but I don't think that's what the Leafs want him to do. I think they just want him to be a net front presence, a leadership guy, a guy that can get in the corners, do the dirty work for their skilled players, and I think that that's the type of direction that they need to go in. We've seen, their playoff failures the last couple of years against the Boston Bruins and others, just that, or even against the Columbus Blue Jackets. Just when the time is tough, they can't play a certain playoff style to be able to get through the first round, and they can be as great and highly skilled and as much as they want, but when it comes to playoff time, they have to be able to play a different style of hockey to be able to be successful.
Yeah, this may sound like a stupid thing to say, but you need a defenseman who knows how to play defense and who doesn't always jump in the rush. You need a guy to play with Morgan Rielly, because Morgan Rielly can put up offense. We know that. We know he can put up points. So you need someone who can stay put and, have their stick on the ice 100% of the time, deflecting passes, blocking shots. Like, there's not enough of those guys in the league anymore. They all want, we need a defenseman who can play defense, but he also needs to play offense. Well, no, that's kind of really not the definition of a defenseman. It is, but it isn't. But the Leafs lack it, and it was funny. Everyone kept, ripping on Anderson for the loss to Columbus, and it's like, no, guys, if you don't score any, and I really think the Leafs defense wasn't that bad in that series against Columbus. Were there moments? Yeah, for sure. You're always going to have a few hiccups and screw-ups here and there, but when you don't score any goals, who gives you can lose 9-0, and it would not be on the goalie because you didn't score a goal. Some of it would be, obviously. They scored 9 goals. But you need offense from your defense. But Toronto is different because they need the complete opposite. And I just pulled up a list here of defensemen available. This guy can score points, but he's very reliable because he was on the top line D pairing for Calgary with Mark Giordano, by the way. TJ Brody, he's 30 years old. He's not that old. He's not that young. Last year, his cap hit was 4.65 and then 400. Where I don't know what the point of that extra 400 was, but that's not really that expensive. I think you could get a little lower, maybe do 4.5 on the dot. So I think that would be someone who you could easily put with Morgan Rielly or add him to the second line.
Exactly. Also, there's a couple updates here from Pierre LeBrun. The Ottawa Senators are closing in on their future goaltender of their franchise, Matt Murray, to a multi-year contract. So Matt Murray's close to signing an extension with the Ottawa Senators. And also the Dallas Stars, there's a term and year here for Dallas with Khudobin. So we'll see what happens here, but it's 3 years right now, $3 million to $3.5 per year. Okay. So it's not official, but it's close.
And Jacob Markstrom, according to Andy Strickland, the ringside reporter for Fox Sports, Jacob Markstrom is done in Calgary.
Yeah, it's close.
Yeah.
So,
we've been saying for the last little while that it was done, but we just haven't got any of the terms yet on that, and we're trying to make sure that we didn't get punked once again. But it seems like you mentioned, Colin Khudobin going back to Dallas, and both them circling back around to each other.
Yep, Elliot Friedman just tweeted out hearing Matt Murray extension is in Ottawa is 4 years, $25 million.
Okay, so good for Ottawa.
Ottawa gets their number one goalie for the next 4 years. That's solid. They've had a bunch of roller coaster in goaltending too, like Calgary. So
it seems like now with Holtby going, the goaltender market finally started to come to fruition here, and we're getting a lot more signings with the goaltenders.
Holtby has a 4-team no-trade list in his contract.
All right, so he's definitely not going to Detroit or Buffalo. That's all we know. But
by the way, I just saw a tweet. Wayne Simmons was a Wings fan growing up.
That's funny. Well, he's from Toronto, so you got to love the Leaf fans and their thought that everybody wants to come home to play in Toronto. So I guess, they would have more players than anybody in the entire league if that was the case. But
quick thought here. Matt Murray, so it's $6.25 a year. Think that's a little bit too much for a goaltender? I mean, if you're Jacob Markstrom, I know your deal's close to being done, but do you look at that?
The guy's won 2 cups. I think it's worth it.
I mean, especially for Ottawa, they needed a guy like him. They needed to move on from Craig Anderson, and to get somebody to stay in Ottawa is not always the easiest thing to do. So for a team like Ottawa, you might have to overpay a bit to get a guy to stay there, especially on a longer term contract. So I think 6.5 for Matt Murray. You said
6.25.
6.25. I don't think it's the worst contract in the world. And again, we've seen what Matt Murray can do. Like Reese just mentioned, he's won 2 Stanley Cups with the Pittsburgh Penguins. As long as he can stay healthy and get back to being at that level he was for the Penguins, I don't see why that there's a lot worse that you could have done than sign Matt Murray for 6.2.
It's nice to see their owner Eugene Melnyk spend some money there. That's nice.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And it is confirmed. And so is Anton Khudobin going back to Dallas.
Okay.
3x3, $3.5 million for Khudobin, 3 years. That's not bad.
Yeah, especially for a guy that basically led them to making the Stanley Cup Finals. He was fantastic for them in their playoff run.
Yeah, that was an impressive streak there he had.
Yep. So we got a few goaltender signings here again. Brandon Caputo here with Colin Ward and Reese Dumaney of the 0-60 podcast. Again, guys, a lot of goaltender signings here coming in, and hopefully we'll see more. Reese, we were asking Colin, I've asked Colin a few times during the show today, do you think that we'll see any of the big guns signed today that are not named goaltenders? So we're talking about the Taylor Halls, the Alex Pietrangelos, the Torrey Krugs. I know they have a lot of teams to meet with, and to their representatives and things like that have to go over numbers. Do you think we'll be waiting a few days for the biggest fish to fall, just for the amount of teams that are interested in them having to kind of weigh the options on everything?
Yeah, I see that for sure. Absolutely. When you get big names like that, there are a few big names that go on the first day of free agency, but like you said, there's multiple teams that are interested, and who knows how long those meetings are, right? They could be anywhere from half an hour to like 2 hours, depending on how the conversation is going. I'm sure it's not 2 hours, but Taylor Hall is interesting. He will weigh his options, because I don't know if he can use the leverage of, I'm a former first overall pick. I don't know if he can use that as leverage anymore. That's a little tough.
I think his attributes do, though.
Yeah, for sure it does. And it's just that he's come along a lot better over a couple of years. So that's where he's like, hey, I've been hot the last year or two. I was good in Arizona when I came over, and Arizona had a nice young team. I really liked them this year, but just didn't work out in the playoffs and with their former GM. But Taylor Hall, I think you'll see him a few days, maybe a week. Alex Pietrangelo, I brought this up on TSN as well about him coming to Toronto, and I don't really think they can afford him anyways, but I think he'll be a couple days as well. There might be one big name we see. Could be at 6 o'clock, could be at 10 o'clock, who knows. I think there will be one big domino to fall. And I think I hate this about free agency is, I'm going to wait to see what he signs for. I hate that. That's dumb. Mm-hmm. Get your offer and accept it.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's all about what the market holds for these guys, unfortunately, when it comes to, we saw what Braden Holtby and the goaltenders, and now we waited for the first one, the domino to fall, and now they all started coming in. So if you were a betting man, Reese, I know, from an unbiased perspective, you do follow the Detroit Red Wings, and we asked Colin this earlier, who also follows the Red Wings. Are you on the train for signing a guy like Torrey Krug to $9 million? I know they have a lot of cap space, but do you think it would be more wise for Steve Yzerman to kind of keep a hold of that cap space and not give in to just going after somebody like Torrey Krug just because he can?
Yeah, I think so. I think there's some, what's the word I'm looking for? It's being a little conservative. I think Yzerman is very good at that. So for Krug, I think $9 million is high, because I like big defensemen, and he's not the biggest defenseman in the world. So in that terms, I think that it's nice to not pay him $9 million. Again, if you want to make one big splash this year and you're not going to pay anyone else over 4 or 5, then yeah, I think you could afford that. That would be okay. But I'd like to see Torrey Krug in Detroit. I really would, but I'm not sure I'd do it for $9 million. I'd do it for
no more than 8.5.
I'd do 7.5.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
7.5 and 8.
Yeah.
I even think that number is too high, Colin. Anything over 8, I think, is too much. He's obviously going to get that from a team, most likely, just because of the fact that there really aren't a lot of top-end defensemen available, so he is like the clear-cut guy. But you see the reason why him and the Boston Bruins are having such a difficult time in trying to come up with a solution for this is just the fact that the Bruins don't like to overpay anybody. They want players to want to play in Boston. They want them to take less money. You see a lot of their cap hits are not as high as they probably could be with some of their top-end players. So for Boston not to want to be able to re-sign, they probably want to re-sign Torrey Krug, but with what he's asking for, I think that they feel like they can use that money elsewhere. And going back to Detroit, maybe they could use that money elsewhere instead of spending a $9 million on a Torrey Krug.
Well, in terms of that, and I just pulled up the list for 2021 free agents, and if Detroit would, want the option to just wait for next year and sign a big defenseman next year, there aren't a lot of big-name defensemen that are free agents next year. Top of the list, you've got Alexander Edler, who actually I think is a really good defenseman. Dougie Hamilton, another former Ice Dog. Mark Stahl, who Detroit just traded for and got a second-round pick. Alex Goligoski's on here. Nicholas Hjalmarsson, Ryan Murray, Jason Demers. Like, these aren't the Petrangelos or Keiths or Krugs of the NHL. These are more guys that you play on your second line defense pair. And I think that might play a little bit into how much in terms of Detroit, how much Yzerman would be willing to pay Krug, because you've got Seider coming up who will still be starting his entry-level deal next year. I don't think he'll be up with Detroit in the 2020-2021 season. So I think this might be the year that Yzerman spends $8 to $9 million on a defenseman.
Another thing to add to that, Detroit has 11 UFAs next year. 11. Mm-hmm. So it's a perfect opportunity, I think, to go in right now. I mean, you look at their signings so far today. They haven't been major signings, so they barely spent any money in their valuable signings. So I think that he goes out there, and I think he does go in for Torrey Krug.
Again, if they signed him to, let's say, the $8.5 to $9 million cap hit for Torrey Krug, I mean, what are you looking at for the Red Wings? They have currently $25 million in cap space, so you take that away. They're still, hovering around $17 million in cap, $16 million in cap.
Plus the Zetterberg long-term extension, too. On opening night, Henrik Zetterberg will be going on a long-term injured list again. That's $6 million. So that's a little bit up, too.
Yeah, I just want to quickly chime in here. Matt Murray has a 10-team no-trade clause in his contract with Ottawa. So 10-team no-trade clause with the Matt Murray contract in Ottawa. But, yeah, going back to Torrey Krug and Alex Pietrangelo, I mean, those are the top two guys, centerpieces. And like Reese mentioned, there aren't those guys available in next year's free agency. So maybe they do cash in for the fact that the market won't be there next year for those top-end defensemen. There won't be those guys available. So maybe they figure out that they have to do this now, or they're going to be waiting, a couple years in advance to try to go after somebody like Kruger or Pietrangelo.
Yeah, it's year to year. It's tough when you're in a spot that Detroit's in, or even Ottawa's in. They're both starting to, the fan bases are both starting to see the plan come together. The Yzer plan in Detroit. I don't know a good one for Dorian. I'll try and think of one. Maybe I'll tweet it out. But in terms of those teams, you see Matt Murray coming. He's the goaltender for the next a lot of years because of this extension. But it's starting to come to fruition. And whether you want to save cap space for your future prospects, again, you've got 3 years. So maybe that's where a 3-year deal comes in for a middle defenseman forward, or even a backup goalie, let's say. where it's 3 years until you have to pay these top end prospects the amount that they deserve, and by that time they'll be cemented as top players in the league. They'll be up in the point totals for whether it's defenseman, forward, whatever. They'll be ready for that payday. So that's where I could see but adding a middle end guy for $5 million for 3 years, and when our prospects are ready for their full-time contracts, go find somewhere else to play.
And what do you think about the Marc-Andre Fleury situation out in Vegas? Obviously, they're clearing cap right now. They traded Paul Stastny to Winnipeg yesterday, clearing up some cap space. They re-signed Robin Lehner to a long-term contract, so it looks like he's going to be the goalie moving forward. Do you think there's going to be a market for Fleury? We've seen that, like we keep mentioning, the goalie market is just flooded right now with guys signing everywhere. Do you think maybe Fleury could be an option for the Red Wings to go take a shot at with a high cap hit, or maybe the Vegas can eat half and the Red Wings would be willing to do something like that? Or do you see any team possibly making a move for a Marc-Andre Fleury with him making a pretty significant amount of money for this year?
I could see Detroit do that. Seems like Yzerman's the master of taking guys off of teams and getting a pick as well. So I think Detroit fans would hate him for the first hour that he signs, just because of 2009 and the save on Lidstrom, and but after that, when you see what he did with Vegas, he took them to a Stanley Cup final in their first year, and people say, oh, well, they had William Karlsson to help them out, and all of the forwards they got. Thomas Nosek really bloomed into a guy. Yeah, if they didn't have Marc-Andre Fleury, not a chance they are making it to the Stanley Cup final. And I think Vegas screwed that up so badly, that situation. I know Fleury's a little bit older. He's getting up there. He's not going to win 35 games a year anymore, but he's still a number one goalie in this league. So there will be offers for him, I think, if Toronto doesn't bring back Frederik Andersen, or if he's gone, or whatever goes on with him. He could sign in Toronto. For Detroit, I could see it because their goaltending depth in the system really isn't that great, in my opinion. They've got former Hamilton Bulldog Caden Fulcher, won an OHL championship, by the way. You've got Larson there. They just drafted Bednar, but again, he's 4 years away. So I think Fleury is a nice gap goalie. 2 years till your top goalie prospect is ready. And I've said this with defensemen and with forward about signing these guys and trading for these guys. They're gap players. And I think that's what the NHL is starting to become is, you got to go through the draft. You look at Steve Yzerman, the guys he drafted in Tampa Bay and brought in, and they waited. And same with Washington. Everyone's like, oh, when's Ovechkin going to win his cup? It doesn't happen overnight. Look how long it took him. Look how long it took the Lightning to get that Stanley Cup. They've been at the top of the league for the last 5 years, and they only won it this year. So that's where it is. You got to bridge the gap till those top end prospects are ready. You've got to figure out a way to be competitive without spending money like you're the New York Yankees. That's not even a shot. That's just true.
Yeah. And especially in hockey, it's different because of the cap. I mean, baseball has a cap, but I mean, they don't mind going over the luxury tax and things like that. So the NHL does it right, and they try to do it to try to have the most parity possible within the league. So you bring up a lot of good points there, but I want to get your thoughts. A few more things before we go here, Reese. Is what do you think of Lundqvist signing with Washington, and what kind of a different dynamic do you think that he brings over Braden Holtby being in that spot for Washington, as they have Ilya Samsonov kind of coming up as the prospect goalie, somebody who's going to be behind Henrik Lundqvist or maybe even battling him for that starting job. What do you think of the difference will be from Holtby to Lundqvist for Washington and net this year?
I don't think there'll be too big of a difference. I mean, they're not really the same style, I would say. I think that both goalies have experience. Obviously, Henrik Lundqvist, at the age he's at, a little more than Holtby. Obviously, Holtby has won a cup, so I guess that adds a little bit more value than just heading to the Stanley Cup final, you could say. But I don't understand that in Washington. I really don't. I was watching a lot of, free agent preview shows coming into today on whether Sportsnet, TSN, either or. So I was just to see what the plan was for Holtby. Will Washington really let him walk and let the future come in? Because I think Washington is potentially at that point. I don't see them not re-signing Ovechkin, who is a UFA next year. I see him staying in Washington forever. But I just thought it was the right time for Samsonov to come in, because he was unreal this past year before the COVID pause took place. To me, it seems like Samsonov is ready, and Lundqvist just comes in to give advice on how to play in the NHL, how to carry yourself, how to act with the media. And the media is way different in New York than it is in Washington. It's probably not even close, but there's just that added mentorship. Mm-hmm. And it's something, and I don't want to bring it to baseball because this is all about hockey, but for us in Canada, Vlad Guerrero Jr. is missing someone like that. And I think Henrik Lundqvist is just there to help him transition to be a full-time goalie. Will he be a number one Lundqvist? No, probably not. I think Samsonov's going to be the number one goalie for sure. He's probably going to start opening night. But Lundqvist is just there to be in Samsonov's ear and, hey, maybe try doing this a little bit differently. This is something that I learned early in my career. I was doing it a little bit wrong, and then the Rangers helped me get to doing this differently. And it's just, it's that give and take that you need between goaltenders. And it's tough to have two young goalies. It's tough to have two old goalies, because that means they may be more injury prone, and you might be searching for goaltending depth like Carolina has done in the last couple of years, with Nedeljkovic coming up all the time and Mrazek not being too, consistent in terms of being on the ice. So Lundqvist is here to sit on the bench and let Samsonov become an NHL goalie and give him a few pointers along the way.
And obviously going for it for the Stanley Cup for Henrik Lundqvist, that's the one thing that's eluded him. Yep. I'm hoping for him to have his Ray Bourque moment, because I think Henrik Lundqvist has been such a great ambassador for the game of hockey that I think it would be great to, I think even if you're not a Rangers fan or a Lundqvist fan, if you're just a general hockey fan, you would love to see Henrik Lundqvist be able to raise the Stanley Cup.
Oh, that would be unreal to see Lundqvist hoist the Stanley Cup. He would be, in my opinion, the first one to get the cup after the captain.
I think Ovi would hand it right to him. I think he would. We might have a Joe Sakic handing it over to Ray Bourque even before Sakic would raise it. That's just the type of respect that I think people have for Ray Bourque, and obviously guys like Henrik Lundqvist. But before we wrap up with you, Reese, I just want to quickly point out that according to David Pagnotta, Kevin Shattenkirk won't re-sign with Tampa. He has interest from about 8 to 10 teams. So again, a very nice job by Kevin Shattenkirk getting the 1-year deal, prove himself type deal, and he was able to do that. And we were talking earlier that maybe Tyson Barrie goes in that road. Do you think that having Tyson Barrie take maybe a 1-year deal with a very good team and for a low cap hit, and then possibly trying to cash in on another contract going into next year, kind of like Kevin Shattenkirk was able to do with the Tampa Bay Lightning?
Yeah, I could see that. Absolutely. For sure. Mm-hmm. I think the situation in Toronto just didn't work out for him just because of, that whole Babcock thing and just maybe not getting the opportunity that he was in Colorado. And by the way, I don't think Colorado should have traded him. Mm-hmm. They got a nice piece in Nazem Kadri, obviously, the way he played in the playoffs. But for him, I wouldn't have been too happy. Just the ice time he was getting, the looks he was getting with Colorado, and with Mike Babcock not willing to budge on any of his systems or, try and piece Tyson Barrie into what they were trying to do in Toronto. That's just the vibe I got. When Sheldon Keefe came over, I think they did a lot better job getting him into spots that he excelled at and really showed the true value that he has. So I think for sure he could be a 1-year deal guy, and whether he just hits free agency next season or he gets traded during this season, either is a huge possibility, but he would play he wouldn't see top line minutes. I don't think he's a top 2 defenseman, but he would be a regular on a second power play unit. He would be second pairing, third pairing, possibly, depending on matchups in the night. But yeah, that's a real possibility for Tyson Barrie.
I like that, and because I just think that the prove-itself contract, I guess, is becoming more valuable in the NHL now, and teams are kind of more willing to do that with players, and some of these players are more willing to do that instead of taking a lower cap hit. They want to prove themselves for the 1 year. They're willing to take the risk, so we'll have to see if Tyson Barrie kind of goes in that road as well, but let's get your final thoughts, Reese, on if you're the betting man here, give us your thoughts on where the big three fish will fall. Let's start with Taylor Hall, Alex Pietrangelo, and Torrey Krug. Where, if you were a betting man, where do you think that they're going to end up signing?
I see Alex Pietrangelo going back to St. Louis. I know a lot of reports saying, oh, they're not really close. They're far from reaching a deal, but Pietrangelo's a veteran. He might just wait this one out. We might see a situation where it's Marner or Nylander, probably not as far as Nylander's went, but I could see it being we'll sign him in November or at the beginning of December, right before the season starts and right before about a week or two before training camp starts. I could see that for Pietrangelo, and I see him going back to St. Louis. Torrey Krug is hard. That is a hard player to sort of read where he wants to go, because obviously Boston would like him back. Lots of reports about Detroit. There's Vegas, who seem to be interested, and with moving Stastny to Winnipeg.
Rumor update.
Okay, let's hear it.
Kevin Shattenkirk's rumored. Apparently, Detroit Red Wings are interested in Kevin Shattenkirk, right-handed shot defenseman.
Of course they are. But let's continue.
Thomas Greiss as well with Craig Anderson.
Okay, so a couple goaltenders there. Reese, continue on with your thoughts on Krug and finishing off with Taylor Hall.
Yeah, Krug is Boston, Detroit, Vegas. I think those are the top three because of where, and they're all different situations, which is really interesting to me. Is Vegas seems like they're still going for a cup. They're still trying to get there. This will be their fourth or fifth season in the league. I think fourth, but where they're going for a cup. They've been in the playoffs every year. So I think they're at that stage where, okay, we're still kind of trying to hang on. We don't have a top guy. Mark Stone's really good. William Karlsson's really good. So obviously they have those pieces to lead them there, and goaltending with Robin Leonard. So I think they're in that stage. With Boston, they're trying to hang on to their youth a little bit. You know, they're trying to get all they can out of Chara and Bergeron, and Marchand's not too old, but he's been there quite a long time, and he's getting up there. Tuukka Rask, who's a UFA next season, who wants to be a Bruin, by the way. It just seems like they're at that phase where we're trying to hang. We were in the Cup final a couple of years ago, but lost in Game 7. We still seem like we can win a cup despite being 1,010 years old as our average age.
Boys.
Got a signing?
You got the song?
Okay, play it. We're ready to go with a signing.
Winberg signs a 1-year deal in Florida, $2.25 million. So Florida, another one.
Okay, another one by Florida. And I actually like that one as opposed to the Radko Gudas deal. Wenberg, 1 year, 2.25, bought out by Columbus yesterday. Like that signing a lot. They kind of needed to replace somebody in their center depth spot. I like that a lot. Obviously, losing Trocheck hurt them this year. So I think Wenberg, if he can get back to the production that he had a few years ago with Columbus, obviously a really disappointing year last year. But it's a nice 1-year deal again, 2.25, 1-year deal, low risk, possible high reward there with Alex Wenberg. I think we're going to see a lot of deals like this, and you know what? I mean, they're really good team-friendly deals, in my opinion.
Oh, for sure. Yep.
But Reese, lastly, Taylor Hall. What are your thoughts on him?
Again, another tough situation. It's obvious he's not going back to Arizona. They don't see him as part of their big plan for when they're ready to go for a Stanley Cup. I see Detroit as a good option. I don't know whether he still has many ties to Windsor, playing there with the Spits, winning 2 Memorial Cups. That's really the only way I can see him coming to Detroit. Is he likes that area. He felt comfortable there, especially with Windsor, despite it being like 10 years ago. I think he could also be in a position to play top line minutes, second line minutes in Detroit. He'll be a top gun. He knows that. He'd be one of the stars there alongside Dylan Larkin. I think a possible nice fit, though, and I don't know whether they're in on Taylor Hall or not, is the Columbus Blue Jackets to play with Max Domi.
Cleared the space, too.
Yeah.
I just don't know if Taylor Hall would want Columbus as a destination. The teams that I were thinking of were the Nashville Predators or the Colorado Avalanche. To me, those two teams seem like prime destinations for players to want to play, and where their teams are at trying to be contenders. I would think that Colorado and Nashville would kind of be suitors for Taylor Hall. Do you like either of those two options?
Yeah, I like Colorado a lot more than Nashville. I was talking about phases with Krug and where teams are. I think Nashville's on the fall. Obviously, they just drafted Askarov, a goaltender from Russia, but Pecorine is not a top-end goaltender, I don't think, anymore. He's obviously a number one, but I don't think he's among the top 10 goalies in the NHL anymore. They've got Phil Tomasino coming up, who you know a lot about, Brandon. He'll be definitely pushing for a third line, second line spot this coming year. But in terms of who they've got there in the core, I don't think that would be a good situation for Hall, because it seemed like they hit their peak when they lost in the Stanley Cup Finals to Pittsburgh, and it's just they really haven't recovered since then.
Mm-hmm. It's yeah, I mean, Nashville, they've obviously cleared out some guys. They got rid of Granlund, Craig Smith. They bought out Kyle Turris. They traded Nick Bonino away. So it seems like they're opening up cap space for a reason. I like you mentioned, I can see Phil Tomasino making the Nashville Predators opening day roster next year and really making that trade look even better for Joey Burke and the Niagara Ice Dogs. But
if he signs in Nashville, Joey Burke won the trade deadline.
Yeah, he definitely did. But Phil Tomasino, you're going to need to bring in guys like that. If you bring in a guy like Taylor Hall, you can't just have a bunch of guys making a ton of money. So if Nashville does end up getting Taylor Hall, which I think would be a very nice addition on the wing for them and would put them back in that contender spot, I would believe, in the Western Conference, I think that they would have to kind of bring a guy like Phil Tomasino into their lineup. But they've made great strides in opening up a lot of cap room and trying to get rid of some players that just weren't working out anymore in certain spots, like Turris, Craig Smith, Nick Bonino. So I would really like to see Taylor Hall in Nashville, and obviously Colorado. That would just be like a super team over there. It'd be pretty ridiculous with Landeskog, Rantanen, McKinnon, Kadri, just to name a few there. It would be incredible, and I would probably pick Colorado as my favorite in the West if that were to happen. But with that being said, Reese, thanks so much for taking the time to come on today, guys. We're going to take our last commercial break, but I just want to give Reese a shout-out here and appreciate him coming on and giving out his insight. Again, you can check him out at the 0-60 podcast as well as TSN 1150. Reese, we hope to see you down at the Meridian Center covering the Ice Dogs a little bit this year, hopefully, if we're able to socially distant, and if the OHL season does happen, look forward to seeing you down there again, and always appreciated talking to you.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Brandon. That was a lot of fun that went a lot longer than I thought it was going to, but that was a lot of fun. And yeah, for sure, I'll be at the Meridian Center, but there better be roast beef in the media room.
Oh, I hope so, yeah. I don't know, man. The roast beef, the chicken, it's good.
Cheap out. Come on.
It's good stuff. Yeah, don't cheap out, guys. But that being said, thanks a lot, Reese, for coming on. And we're going to take our last commercial break and then come back with Colin and myself's final thoughts on today and the Free Agents Frenzy. So we'll be right back here on the Under Review podcast and right here on the Armchair GM Sports Network. J&L Flooring is a Niagara-based specialty flooring and design company. They take great pride in providing elite customer service and support. They are a specialty flooring and decor boutique shop with a beautiful showroom, great pricing, and a wide variety and truly unique selection of products. All their products are environmentally friendly and responsibly produced, so you can feel great about your flooring choices. Their goal as a local business is to build authentic relationships based on honesty and integrity that they foster with respect and authenticity. Offering a unique and wide range of quality products presented by a knowledgeable and patient team, they connect with their customers to simplify the process to make their life easier and to make their homes beautiful. Visit them at 4424 Montrose Road, Niagara Falls, or find out more at jnlflooring.com. Open Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. through 5 p.m., and Saturday, 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. 905-358-3299 J&L Flooring. The Spicy Olive Bar and Grill is located on the top of Clifton Hill and just a 5-minute walk from the majestic Niagara Falls. It is conveniently nestled in the heart of the tourist district. A family-owned and operated business, the Spicy Olive opened its doors in May of 2003 and has since been established as an authentic and unique Italian restaurant and bar. Its rustic ambiance and time-worn finishing provide a warm and inviting dining experience. Offering an array of delicious dishes, they specialize in authentic Italian cuisine, homemade sauces, fresh ingredients, and consistently providing a strong foundation on which they build their menu. As night falls, the Spicy Olive shifts to a lively lounge where drinks and live music come together to make a perfect evening. For more than 15 years, they have provided not only for their dedicated locals, but their customers from all over the world with authentic Italian food and great live entertainment. Open daily 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. for dinner and till 2 a.m. for drinks. Check out their new menu and book reservations on their website at Spicy Olive Bar and Grill, it's with an E at the end, .com, or call 905-371-2323 for reservations as well. The Spicy Olive Bar and Grill.
You're listening to the Armchair GM Sports Network, the Niagara region's best local source for North American sports podcasting coverage. By sports fans, for sports fans.
All right, guys, welcome back to the final segment of our very long Under Review podcast, our special Free Agent Frenzy episode right here on the Armchair GM Sports Network. Brandon Quiddo and Colin Ward, guest co-host from the 0-60 podcast, back with you here with our final thoughts, and we were just pleased to be joined for about a half hour or so by the other co-host of the 0-60 podcast, Reese Dumani, and anchor for TSN 1150 in Hamilton. So thank you very much for Reese coming on and giving his thoughts as well. Colin, about 9 minutes left here to wrap up final thoughts on the first day of NHL free agency. Again, we are still waiting on a lot of the big names to fall here. Craig Smith is generating a lot of interest here in Boston and Ottawa, according to David Pagnotta, just coming back from commercial break here, but nothing too major. But the three biggest fish have not fallen yet. We finally started to see the goalies come in later in the day, Colin, but just what were your thoughts on the first day of NHL free agency and in the life of the COVID-19 pandemic?
Well, I mean, there's not a lot of, you can't really predict the future this year, right? You don't really know, so that's the thing. If people knew where they were going, I think it would be a lot faster. I think you'd see a couple guys here in the top 10 sign, but nobody here in the top 10 has officially signed. Markstrom and Hoffman, I know were rumored, but they haven't officially signed on the dotted line yet. Pietrangelo, Hall, Krug haven't even had a rumor talked about them yet. So it's going to be interesting. Paula Dadanoff as well. I know Toffoli, it sounds like Vancouver is out on Toffoli. And then Tyson Barrie, nothing really either. So there really hasn't been much. Shattenkirk, there's a rumor. So in the top 10, Shattenkirk, Markstrom, Hoffman are the only ones with rumors.
Yeah, it was interesting because you would thought that Tyler Toffoli would, it was rumored that Vancouver really liked him and were willing to be open to Brock Besser trade talks because they would like Tyler Toffoli so much. So I guess something has changed in that regard, and now maybe he doesn't end up going back to Vancouver like a lot of people had envisioned. But the couple other things. Sorry, Colin, to cut you off. Anton Khudobin, it's officially going back to Dallas. It's made official by their Twitter account, so he's circled back around.
Justin, we have a new one. If you want to play it, you can.
Okay. What do we got?
We got Mark Jankowski.
Oh my God.
Signed with the Pittsburgh Penguins.
Okay, Mark Jankowski goes to the Pittsburgh Penguins. I guess we needed to play the intro breaking news one more time before we wrapped up the show today, even though it was a minor one.
Sure. Big, solid player. I don't mind that for Pittsburgh.
Mark Jankowski signs with the Pittsburgh Penguins, so we'll have to see the terms and how long that's going to be, the cap hit for that. So we'll wait to see what that's going to look like, the contract for Mark Jankowski with the Pittsburgh Penguins. I would think that it would be pretty pretty small compared to a lot of the other signings that they have made, and a lot of their cap situation. I don't think that they're going to be signing Mark Jankowski to a big contract. So I could see it probably being around the $2 million mark that we've been seeing for a couple of these other defensemen.
I see like the Simmons deal, 1 by 1.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't give Mark Jankowski $2 million, but with the way things are going today, I mean, he could probably get upwards of $2 million.
He can be effective though.
Maybe we'll have to wait and see, but
the time will tell type signing. I'm just curious to see why nobody in the top 10 has signed. I thought you might see that though from the 3 o'clock to 6 o'clock range, and like how Reese alluded to, you might see a late night signing as well, because guys are going to pick their options today for sure, because nobody really knows the future right now.
Guaranteed when we go off the air, one of the big fish will sign, and that'll just be our luck, but that's usually how it happens, right?
I'll tweet it.
Yep. You can go ahead and tweet it. Unfortunately, I have to go to work, so I have to get off of the podcasting for the week. And it's been a long week. We did 3 hours worth of draft coverage for the first round with Kyle and myself. And then, obviously, today doing 3 hours live of Free Agent Frenzy coverage. So thank you to everybody who has been able to tune in for 6 hours of live coverage this week for the NHL, as Colin and myself, and obviously a lot of you people out there. This is probably one of the most exciting weeks in the hockey calendar. So obviously, it's a big week, a lot of moving parts, a lot of things going on, but this is what we live for. We love doing this, especially with not a whole lot going on right now with the pandemic. It's nice to have a day like this to kind of just talk about hockey again, although it's not on July 1st and on Canada Day like we're all accustomed to here in Canada, but it's definitely been fun. Colin, let's get your last minute thoughts here on where you think the 3 big fish will sign. I asked Reese the same question, so where do you think Hall, Krug, and Pietrangelo end up going?
I think Pietrangelo stays in St. Louis or goes to Calgary. It'll be interesting, though, now with the cap. If Calgary signs Markstrom, that might look bleak. We'll see. They got cap space. They got a little bit to do it. So they got $16 million right now in spending money. So that can happen probably. But I think I tweeted that yesterday, too, with Buffalo's Cahoon. The GMs in St. Louis and in Buffalo might allow those type of guys to go out, see what their options are, and if not, you got that fallback contract there in their respected teams. So that's an interesting one for me.
Okay. What about the other two, Hall and Krug?
Hall, I think Boston's an option. I think Boston would be a great spot for him. I know it was talked about earlier on at the deadline that he'd get traded to Boston possibly, but didn't happen. So I can see Boston being a possible free agent destination for him. And like how Reese alluded to, I don't see it, but Detroit is an option just because he's comfortable with the city. And plus Ottawa. Ottawa's got cap space. He's from Kingston. Possibly Ottawa could be a decent spot for him too.
And Torrey Krug, do you think there's a chance he goes back to Boston?
No, I don't think he goes back to Boston just because I think Boston's moving on from that. It's hard to say, though, I guess you could say because of Ekman-Larsson not going there, but I don't know. I think they would have got it done at 6.5 last week if he was staying. Mm-hmm. I think he tests his options. I know that contract's probably not going to leave because I know the Boston Bruins have respect and the fans love Torrey Krug in Boston. So I know he has that fallback offer. But I can see Detroit being an option. But if Shattenkirk doesn't turn out, I can see Detroit. I could see Columbus. I could see Colorado because Colorado's got to go in for it here.
Okay.
So those are 3.
Yeah, I would. If I'm a betting man, I say Taylor Hall signs with Colorado or the Nashville Predators. Are my thoughts with that. Torrey Krug, I think Detroit would probably be able to give him the most money, so I would say Torrey Krug with Detroit. And as far as Alex Pietrangelo, I do think he ends up circling back around to the St. Louis Blues and signs that 8-year, $8 million contract. I think maybe he realizes that the market just wasn't there for his asking price this year. Just wasn't going to happen. I don't think so. I think he does circle back around to St. Louis. I think that's a good relationship that needs to continue. So if I was a betting man, those would be my thoughts on that as well.
Yeah,
but
for sure. Also want some news to close out the show?
Sure.
Not big. Johan Franzen is officially off the Red Wings books.
Great. So there you go. Another guy off the Red Wings books, and more cap space for them to sign Torrey Krug to a $12 million contract. He's going to get an Artemi Panarin $11 million contract with the Rangers last year. But yeah, with that being said, Colin, before we wrap up today, just quickly plug where we can find you at and your show as well. And yeah, just go ahead and tell the listeners here what they can expect from the 0-60 podcast.
You can find me at Colin Ward _14. You can hear more from me on the 0-60 podcast. We cover the OHL. We've had multiple player interviews, like Reese and I alluded to before. We had Hunter Jones, Phil Tomasino, Connor McMichael, Brett Brochu, Luke Evangelista. We've had some good ones on. We've been lucky to have those guys. Riley McCourt's another one. It's been fun to have those guys come on. We appreciate them taking the time, and we just cover the league. We try to get the players' voices out there.
Okay, awesome. Well, Colin, thanks so much for staying with us for the 3 hours. It's been a lot of fun, and you know what? Hopefully we have you back on to talk about some more OHL news when the Ice Dog season does start back up. But it was nice to have you on here for the 3 hours. It kind of flew by, in my opinion, but it was a lot of fun talking with you.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that.
Yep. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, thank you to all of you who tuned in and listened for this long episode, the 3-hour coverage of our live Free Agent Frenzy episode on the Armchair GM Sports Network. Thank you to all of those in the chat. Thank you to Tyler Jones, Rob Furioli, Mark Ferrante, Kyle Kitt, the co-owner of the Armchair GM Sports Network, also gave his 2 thoughts. So thank you to everybody who tuned in the chat, and who just tuned in as the silent listeners and listened with us during parts of the episode today. It's been a long 3 hours, but thanks for bearing with us, and it's been a long week of podcasting, so I'm going to get some rest with my voice so it doesn't go out for the rest of the week. But with that being said, that's going to wrap it up for today's long episode of the Under Review podcast, our NHL Free Agent Frenzy special, right here on the Armchair GM Sports Network, your source North American sports coverage by sports fans, for sports fans, delivered to you right here in the beautiful Niagara region. As always, I'm one of your hosts of the Under Review podcast, Cappy. You can follow me on Twitter at Capoot13 of the Canadian Z. As well, you can follow my special guest co-host for today, Colin Ward, at Colin Ward _14 and at the 0-60 podcast. A big thank you to all of our great sponsors who help put us on, support the network, keep the show on the air. Make sure you're checking them out and using those promo codes and telling them that the Armchair GM sent you. It's very important to support your local businesses during this time with this global pandemic. And finally, again, most importantly, to you viewers out there for tuning in and listening along with us to make this happen for us. We very much appreciate it. And once again, this has been the Under Review podcast on the Armchair GM Sports Network by sports fans, for sports fans. Enjoy the rest of free agency, guys. We'll see you guys soon.